So early start today, huh?
Yeah. Got some plans for the night. So I'm going to go ahead and get some recording done so I can clean myself up with a nice shower and then trim my non-existent beard and not do makeup because I don't, nothing against, I'm just going to stop that sentence right now.
No, I mean, whatever floats your boat, you know.
Yeah, that's what I say to those that, choose to put on makeup, whatever floats your boat. It's been quite a stressful week for me.
Yeah.
Yeah. I think I want to roll right into weeks if
sounds good.
Unless you have any actually from last week. I know we did a lot of Persona 5 talk, as we're probably going to do some today. Got to make sure we keep that shit crisp.
Yep. I got nothing. I'm anxious to hear.
Sweet. So, as I think I mentioned either last episode or episode before that, I may have mentioned sometime in the life of this podcast in the past month or so, I've been nose into the books dealing with a course for the military I've had to study with. This is like work and school related, so I hope nobody clicks off immediately. I'm not going to spend all day on this, trust me. But very important for my military career. Very important that I pass. Can't go into details about it, of course, but I mean, it's probably not like it's not secret shit or anything, but the course itself is divided up into 3 sections, and I did the book work, took the test, passed the first part, did the book work, took the test, passed the second part, and then stressed the fuck out over part 3. Not because it was, I don't feel much harder, but that, like, this was it. Once I pass this, I'm finished. Yay, but also, I need to pass this one, It's kind of that test anxiety bullshit.
So is this 3 different tests or 3 parts of the same test?
Yeah, 3 entirely different tests.
Okay.
None of which tests, it's not like a step thing where you got to know the shit from the first one. It's all individual, but they're all, it's a lot of fucking material in each one.
Right.
And it's one of those, 2,000 pages, you have 13 questions kind of thing. So, yeah. So, as I think I may have mentioned last episode, I was studying for that test, which I took today. And I'm not even going to bullshit around it, man. I passed it fucking rock solid.
Nice.
I was so fucking happy, man. I don't normally get stressed about tests. I get a lot of second guessing of myself and shit like that. And again, especially with this one being like, this is the 3rd, man. You got to pass this one. If you don't, it's gonna suck to get this far and blow it. But I actually did better on this test than I did the other 2. So at the end of the day, all my book work, all my studying, all my pre-tests, exams, all that bullshit, all done. Whole course is finished. I'm passed. It's finished with, over. And now I can relax in my free time and enjoy my life, which now I can have some more time to focus on some other things that I've been getting involved with. Which I think we should play this week a little different. I think we should do kind of a mix of what we've been doing, just because we have 2 different things. We have 2 things that we both are going to talk about, which is D&D and Persona 5. Yep. And honestly, folks, aside from that, okay, well, I have been playing God of War 1 and 2. I said I did want to do that because I have the new God of War coming out, I think April 20th, I believe is the release date. And I don't even think it's like a necessity, but I wanted to go ahead and go back through the trilogy, the original games, and just refresh myself on the story, get some better insight on the past games. There's also a couple PSP games, I believe. I may or may not jump into those, but I've also had God of War 3 for years and years, and just by circumstance, I've never actually played it. So now I'm playing through all 3. I played God of War 1, and this is not a bragging thing, it's just because of the nature of the game. I think I beat it in roughly around 10 hours or so. Pretty good. Definitely has aged. I'd have to look at the date, but I think this thing, I got a 2005, 2006 vibe from this game. It's old. And just for clarity, I'm playing God of War 1 and 2 I'm playing the God of War Saga version, which is the PlayStation 1 of the PlayStation 3 re-releases. Kind of upscale graphics-ish, but I mean, you can tell the age on the first God of War, upscaled or not. Same thing for God of War 2. And then God of War 3, and this is how fucking just pinky in the air I'm being. Even though I have God of War 3 on the PlayStation 3, I went ahead and bought the remastered version on PlayStation 4, just because. Just play the updated version of it. But yeah, so I played God of War 1 all the way through. Ran through it. It had its challenges, most notably toward the end, and especially the last boss when you fight against Ares. Chris, have you played the original trilogy?
So I actually bought I think it was actually on PS3. They did all 3 games together, and I have that, I believe. I played 1 and beat it. I don't know if I finished 2 or not. I think I'm like halfway or 3/4 through 2, and then I got sidetracked with something else. So I still haven't completed the series, or the trilogy, rather.
Gotcha. Yeah, I noticed that whenever I was looking through the remasters and the re-releases of God of Wars, I think God of War 1 and 2 got re-released a couple times. The Saga one that I got, I think it has God of War 2, and I think it has the 2 PSP games. I'm assuming the 2 PSP games. I don't even know what the fuck I have. I just have games. But, so anyway, yeah, I'll get through this story eventually. I played God of War 1, beat it. I got kind of hemmed up toward the end of the game. There are a couple last-ditch... a couple things in the last areas of the game was hemming me up pretty bad, especially the last boss. He can be kind of cheap, but fuck that. I've been through Dark Souls and Bloodborne. Come at me, bro. I remember specifically back in the day, one thing that extremely pissed me off, and I was looking forward to getting back to this area. I was actually confused. I thought it was God of War 2 this happened, but no, it was God of War 1. Somewhere in like the first third of the game, maybe in halfway through the game, there's an area where the gimmick of this area is there's a giant pit in the middle of the arena. At the top of the pit is a blue circle with runes around it, and at the bottom of the pit is another blue circle with runes around it. You enter this room, and like 2, 3, 4, whatever, centaurs come into the room. I don't even think at this point you've even fought centaurs. But they come into the room, and I remember this back in the day vividly. I got so fucking pissed off at this thing. I could not get it properly. I could not get it. For one, I didn't know what the hell they wanted me to do. And then once, through context clues that the game does give you, I figured out what to do, but then I couldn't get it to happen. And what they want you to do is you have to kill the minotaurs, or the centaurs, in those blue circles. I can't remember. It's like 2 or 3 or 4 respectively. And the way, for those of you that haven't played God of War, the characters, the enemies in the game, what's a good phrase to put this for? They float walk, I guess you could say.
Okay.
You can see their legs moving back and forth, and and this is a 3D environment, by the way. So, but the movement that they're doing is not in coordination with the movement of their feet. They are going left to right and like swinging like in a pendulum form around you and making circles around you, but their legs are not doing that. They're just like left, right, left, right. Enemies do a lot of tracking in these games. They do a lot of quick maneuvers. They do a lot of block and counterattack immediately. If you don't block accordingly, or you don't roll away accordingly, they can get you, and they can. You think like Dark Souls 2 has tracking issues? Oh boy, God of War has tracking issues with enemies. So, back to this area, these centaurs are moving like all over the place, and I remember trying my damnedest to, for one, maneuver them into the circle, and then attacking them and trying to get the finishing blow to happen while they're in the circle. I think they could they could be touching the circle and it's fine. And for whatever reason, back in the day, 10, 15 years ago, this was the hardest fucking thing in the game for me, aside from fighting Ares. And this time, when I walked into the room, I was like, oh shit, here we go. I remember this. Yep, there's the things on the floor. Yep, here comes the fuck. Here we go. So here, it's God of War 1. It's not 2. Let's fucking do this. And I got it first try. And that's not again. I never say shit like that to be bragging. It's more like I was really psyching myself up for this shit and thinking this is gonna be a thing. And then I'm questioning myself. I'm trying to question 10, 15-year-old self and going, what the fuck was your problem? You just fucking kill him on the thing. I don't understand where did you fuck up at? What were you doing wrong? I guess you got good eventually. I think that I was trying to do something like grab them and maneuver them back into the circle. I don't know. I remember just either hours or days getting super fucking frustrated with that thing, and no, it wasn't a big deal.
Yeah, I remember nothing about the game.
It's got its story elements, but even that, there's a lot of. It's hard to describe the take of God of War. It's the content inside is super serious, except for the times when they obviously make little pokes and jokes and jabs at things. But the gameplay itself and the enemy movement and it's not an arcadey feel. It feels like it's a seriously not serious game. I mean, it's got a good story. It has a very tragic story all the way through. Kratos is not somebody to fuck with as well, because he's powerful. He has all this shit going against him. There's almost a little bit of backstabbing, who did what's going on, shit going on. But the gameplay itself and the game is just, I don't know how to describe it. It's kind of colorful-ish, not whimsical, but over fantastical, I guess you'd say. So I played God of War 1, ran through it. I'm currently playing God of War 2, and it's having a lot of moments in this game where, and again, I hate to use, I bring this up all the time, folks. I will always use Dark Souls as a reference material for action, and most of the time in Dark Souls, I've played enough Dark Souls to know that there are times that can fuck you over, but the controls and the combat in Dark Souls is so fucking crisp. It's so spot on, where when you die, you can 90-95% of the time go, yeah, that was me. I was being too greedy. Yeah, I didn't roll properly. Yeah, I didn't use my shield right. Yeah, I should have been using these attacks and not these attacks. God of War and God of War 2, mainly God of War 2 so far, has had many moments where you're like, come on, man. Really, come on. How the fuck did he track me from like behind and then, yeah, whatever. But again, I've been there, done that. I've already beat this game. I could pop in codes for this game if I wanted to. I'd actually thought about doing that, but I'm just playing through it. No matter what, I'm really wanting to play the first two just to refresh. When I get to God of War 3, that's when I'll pay more strict attention. Like I'm not paying attention to the first two, but I'll treat 3 with more analytical. Maybe I'll take notes on it. Who knows?
Yeah.
But as far as gameplay goes, and as far as anything else in life, I did this big fucking test thing, passed out the way, and I beat God of War 1, and I'm playing God of War 2. And that's pretty much it for my... Oh, I did... I think I may have mentioned this... No, I think I mentioned this in the D&D thing, but I made a promise to myself that if I did pass this test, no matter what score I made, I was going to buy Monster Hunter 4 for the PlayStation 4, and I came home today with Monster Hunter 4. So once I get through God of War 2 and 3, depending on what else is on my plate, until God of War comes out, I may go ahead and start that up and start playing through it. That may be a bad thing, because from what I'm seeing and from what I understand from Monster Hunter, that's not a fucking 20-hour or 30-hour game.
Yeah.
And I'd hate to get, 40, 50 hours in that game ago. I mean, when God of War shows up, folks, I'm jumping into that bad boy. So we'll see. We'll see what happens. We'll see what time plays out. Hell, I may go back to Persona 5 finally. I don't know. I do know that up until God of War comes out and until I beat that and am satisfied and push it away, I really don't know what I'll be playing. Maybe Monster Hunter, maybe not. But that's it for my week, aside from the two things I know we're going to collectively talk about. What about your week?
Pretty much the same as far as mostly Persona 5 and D&D. The other one I have to talk about kind of fits in between. So,
okay.
I'm not going to talk about it until after we talk about D&D.
Yeah. Okay. Well, shit. If I guess there's nothing else on the table, I'm looking around at other. Nope, nobody else. Nothing. Oh shit. Let's start with what you want to do first? Persona 5 or D&D?
Let's go with Persona 5.
Yeah, let's go ahead and get Persona 5 since we have both. So, key Persona 5 music now. Well, I can finally say that we have both beat Persona 5.
So
that's
what'd
where
you
I'll
think?
Start mine at. Well, I will say this. It did wrap the story up very well. Wait a minute. Hold on, Michael. Get your shit straight. Spoilers for Persona 5, folks. You're talking to two people as of this recording that have played Persona 5 through multiple hours and have both completed it, one of which is even going through a New Game Plus. So, I'm sorry. I'm kind of wanting to hear feedback from the audience if at this time, if anybody would like us to do like a spoiler-free review. I think Chris and I have done a little bit of spoiler-free talk already to try to push people into it. But, yeah, spoiler talk today, folks. I just beat the game and Chris has already beat it, so it's time to finish out our talks. What do I feel? Well, okay, and also my wife is in here and she hasn't played it yet, but she has her headphones on, so cool. I'm not going to spoil anything for her. That doesn't mean really much. She had a bad habit of watching me play, so she may have seen some of the ending anyway. But anyway. So I forget where I last left off when we were talking last. Ship. I was on the ship. Okay, so I finished that one out. And it had some moments in it, most notably the Akechi thing finally coming all the way around, and yeah. I thought it was pretty cool how they kind of made it sort of ambiguous at the end whether he was kind of going to come to the dark side. I mean, come to the light side, but then it didn't matter because he ended up dying.
Yeah,
and I thought that was pretty cool.
So
kind of hard to. Go ahead.
I can finally tell you what the spoiler was that I got.
Okay.
It said it's like after Akechi gets shot. And I got that way early.
Oh, no.
I was what? He gets shot? And that's why I was like, there's no way he can be a bad guy because he gets shot by someone who shot him, And yeah, so that's why I was like, no, there's no way it's him.
Oh, no. Man. I think he actually talked about this before as well. I hate to talk about for somebody else, but Adam went through something like this. I was actually present when that happened. We were, a year or so ago, we were at work talking about Metal Gear Solid 5, which, have you played Metal Gear Solid 5?
No, I've never really been a huge... I mean, I appreciate the games, but it's never been one of the game series I care about overall.
Yeah, that's totally fine. Well, I'm not going to spoil it either for what he had, just in case, but we were talking about it, and he went to go look something up. He was looking up, we were trying to make any connections in Metal Gear Solid universe is a fucking challenge as it is. So I was like, hey, I wonder how what they meant by something to do with this character and that character. He was like, oh yeah, let me go look this up because I think it's this, but I'm going to go check this. And as he's reading, he just stops and goes, well, fuck me. I'm like, what's up? He goes, I just had the entire fucking game spoiled for me. The whole ending, the whole everything about this game just got fucking wrapped up in 3 sentences. And I was like, no, there's a lot of shit in Metal Gear Solid 5, man. He goes, trust me, I just had the entire game spoiled. I'm like, there's no fucking way. I think him and I both were kind of playing it around the same time, kind of like how me and you were doing Persona 5. We were kind of playing it together, and we were very close in where we were. And I want to say at that time, we were only like maybe, quote-unquote, a third through Metal Gear Solid 5. And yeah, he had the whole entire thing spoiled. So he was like, I'm not going to tell you. I'm not going to fucking spoil it for you. Just know that when you beat it, come back and talk to me, and I'm going to tell you what I found out. And then I beat the game, and I went and talked to him. He was like, yeah, it was this, 3 sentences. And I was like, oh my God. He's like, yeah, the whole fucking game got spoiled. I was like, man, that sucks. What were you reading that dropped that bomb for you?
God, I don't even remember now. It was probably something related to a confidant or something like that, maybe. Yeah. It was something very specific. You know what? It wasn't even that. I think I was looking at room decorations or something like that. And I didn't, it wasn't even on the page. It was in the little Google search preview thing.
Yeah.
So I didn't even go to or I think I went to the page and it was like, bam, right at the top. I'm like, this has nothing to do with the furniture in the room.
That is horrible. So. And this is topical as well. I swear we're going to get back to Persona 5, folks, but this is our podcast. We'll talk about what we want to talk about. Have you ever heard the phrase going internet black or internet dark?
Yes.
Yeah. I'm Chris. I'm on the verge. I'm on the fucking line. 2 big things are about to happen next month. One is God of War comes out, and 2, which I already have tickets for, woohoo, because I'm a fucking nerd, hell yeah. Infinity War, Avengers Infinity War comes out. The day that I was able to go purchase my tickets, I got an email from Fandango, hey, you can start buying tickets now. That day, I just randomly looking at random fucking things on my Facebook news feed, I had 2 separate things spoiled. Not huge, okay, not huge, but there was a screenshot of something that was not even in a new trailer, and I saw a character doing something. I was like, oh, well, I fucking know that can happen now. And then I was scroll down. I'm going through, fucking people talking about birthday parties and, just fucking life shit. And then I saw a spread with all their new costumes. Everybody, I saw a roster of people and all of their new costumes looked. And I was like, oh, fuck it, fucking internet, off. Close the fucking screen, lock the fucking phone away. Jesus. And I've had 3 separate things spoiled for me on the new God of War. These things are not even out yet. How? I know. God of War, there are a lot of pre-release copies that are going out to news publications, websites. I'm sure Giant Bomb has it. Ben from Easy Ally has got to play it. I don't know if he played all of it. He maybe played 3 hours, I think is what he said. And none of those 2 spoiled it. This was, again, just fucking random news things that I saw, and I'm looking at things and just seeing stories and pictures and movie clips, and I'm just getting spoiled. So I'm on the verge of just going, all right, look, if y'all want to get a hold of me, you got fucking my phone number. That's it, because I'm getting off the internet. We are less than a month away, and I'm getting they just can't fucking control themselves. I know that we're up to, what are we up to now, Chris? The 27th trailer of the Avengers Infinity War?
No, I have no idea.
Yeah, I don't know either, but I know I've seen 2, and I have stopped at 2. I just saw a news article yesterday for the newest trailer out, and I said, no, I don't want to watch that. I'm good. I'm really, really good. I know how trailer people do, and even, unfortunately, Marvel, you're not guilty of that. You as well put out several trailers, and even though you add 1 or 2 more scenes, I know you want to put that cool hook in there, but I didn't need that. I got the cool hook on the first trailer. Fuck you. I've had the cool hook for Infinity War years and years ago. So. But yeah, and it just like what you said with Persona 5, and the same thing for fucking Adam getting Metal Gear Solid 5. It's like you have to be your own fucking detective and be able to read above what you're reading and be like, all right, is there spoilers in here? Is somebody gonna be a fucking asshole and just put something in there? Sometimes they're harmless, sometimes they're not. Sometimes it's just people going, hey, fucking Akechi died, woo! And you're like, wow, what? I know that was a very cool moment for you, and then it impacted you, but fuck you.
Yeah.
But back on top. Go ahead.
I'm glad I don't have to deal with that very much on Facebook. I think most of the people on my list have the same, I don't want to be spoiled attitude.
Yeah. Most of my spoilers come from, like, if whatever news publications or magazines or whatever, it's like third removed. Like, my friends don't come to me and say, hey, here's something that happened. It's a fucking, hey, here's the newest, hottest news on Infinity War, and it's a picture of something, and you're like, oh, whoa, no. I know it, even if it's not a major spoiler, I've seen enough. Mm-hmm. I want in my head Infinity War to be like 2.5 hours, and I want to walk in there and only have seen the shit from the trailers. So we're talking maybe 5 minutes. Right. I don't want like 20 minutes of that movie already gone for many reasons. I mean, you don't want to already see the cool shit. You don't. Yeah. What was the movie? Age of Ultron. Okay, I didn't want to see the Hulkbuster armor, but I get why they did it. Hey, the fucking Hulkbuster's armor's in here. Hey, cool. You got the hook in. You got people going, what the fuck is that? Or you had people going, oh, they get the Hulkbuster armor in. But not only that, you don't want to see that cool shit. You don't want to see a scene and either intentionally or unintentionally have it burn in your head to where you're waiting for it. Yeah. So when you see people walking into that house, you're like, oh yeah, this is where Tony says this thing to that person, and yep, there it is. Yeah, and of course I already know what's gonna happen now. So spoilers. This is the first world problem right here. People fucking ruining our fun.
Yep.
Persona 5, playing through it, I get through the tanker area. Fairly nondescript area, new monsters. I'm not really plowing through. Well, yeah, actually I was plowing through the enemies, no problem. I think that was probably the 6th palace, maybe. So at that point, you're well acquainted with battle. As long as you have a fairly well-rounded and leveled party, you're fine with combat. Boss was as nondescript. I think it was like a rush of different people. I forget. The Akechi thing rounding out was pretty cool. Fucking voice actor, yeah, he's good shit. And then there was kind of a weird lull period between that and the last area. Like, none of my confidants would come out and play, and I think I only had a couple days to mess with anyway, so it was very fast forward. Was still on razor's edge about mementos, because I wanted to make sure I had done everything, and I had done everything. I fucking better have 250 hours.
I mean, did you get the trophy?
I don't. I may have, bro. I'd have to go look.
Yeah, there's a trophy for doing all the requests.
Gotcha. I may not have done all the requests because I think there are ancillary people, like even people that are not your
confidants.
Not even your confidants. Yeah, it's just people you can help out and they give you things. I'd have to go look. I've done several requests in there.
The only ones that you can really miss are if you don't read one of Mishima's text messages. Because he'll only mention it once, and it unlocks when you read the message, even if it's a later day. But if it scrolls off your phone in the past history, you completely miss it.
Damn. I may have gotten it. What I was mainly concerned with was I at the place in Mementos that I needed to be when the in-game Mementos shit kicked off, and I was. And I knew I was whenever, I went back to Mementos to go. I was just really fucking around. One thing on Mementos. Let me see if I got this, if I remember this right, because I might have just fucked it up. I thought you were saying that that I should go talk to the girl that was standing outside of the Velvet Room in Mementos. Is that correct?
In Mementos, yes.
Okay, when I went to talk to her, I got no dialogue. And the only time I could get anything from her is when I tried to go into the Velvet Room, which she just says the generic stuff. Hey, you want to go in here and fuck off? And that was it. Which means two things. Either one, you did something in that game that I didn't do, or two, I may have already had done that and just completely forgot what was said or done.
Well, there is also a trophy for that as well. Let me look real quick while you're talking, and I'll see if it's actually a New Game Plus only thing.
Yeah. The only thing that I specifically remember about those two girls, aside from the ending, which that's coming up in a second, but I did all of their confidant. I maxed out their confidant level, but I don't remember anything happening with me. Either I don't remember talking to them, either I don't remember what they said when I talked to them, or it just wasn't working.
No, my bad. It is only a New Game Plus.
Okay, I'll just keep it in mind. Sometime in the future, I'll check it out. But, so yeah, I realized that I was where I needed to be in Mementos when, one, you told me that you educated me on Mementos being that the only way that you unlock the next level is once you clear a palace.
Right.
Well, once I had cleared the boat palace, a couple days went by, nothing new got unlocked. I went down to Mementos and I was at the bottom level, and it was like, yeah, we can't get past this door. And I'm like, all right, well, obviously I can't go any further. And then when the Mementos of the actual story kicked in and I wound up in Mementos, I was like, well, I'll just go down to the bottom level. And I went all the way down to the bottom level. They're like, this is the final door. Let's go. And I was like, okay, yeah, so I did do everything. Cool.
Yeah, and
the Mementos... Go ahead.
It may not unlock as soon as you finish the palace, but like when the character's dialogue, the follow-up results is done.
Yeah. I'll check it out. So went down to Mementos, was going through that area, fairly nondescript. The puzzle stuff was pretty cool. The stepping on the lit up things. Mm-hmm. I kind of felt that was kind of gimmicky compared to what the other palaces had. But as far as Mementos goes, that was more flavor than Mementos gave you, because Mementos was usually a lot of the same. It's random generated. You're gonna have probably 4 treasure chests. 4 things to pick up. You're going to have around about 6 to 8 enemies. You find the next level down, you go. That's repetition for like 60 fucking floors. I don't know. Yeah. But the puzzle stuff did break up the monotony of Mementos. And then the whole time, as I'm going through all of this, the Akechi thing and the casino thing, all that shit got answered. Mm-hmm. But I had 2 main curiosities. One, what is up with Morgana? What's up with her in Mementos? I want that finished out. Is she human? Is she not human? What's going on? And 2, what the fuck is up with the Velvet Room? So I make it all the way down here. The stuff with Mementos kicks off, and then you find the Holy Grail, and it's like, I am the culmination, blah, 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 blah. I'm like, okay. Abnormality, God, complex being thing is controlling, and then Mementos sprouts out shit in the real world, and I was like, okay, that's pretty cool. And then you go fight all the people raise their hands and take our power, Goku, and your spirit bomb meter grows, and you can see your spirit meter grow, and Joker says, give me your power, everyone. And you fight the last boss. It was designed to, and it did take me a little while to get through, because there's the arms. You gotta stop what you're doing and take the arms out.
Yeah.
Almost had a oh shit moment when he brought all 4 fucking arms back out, and I was like, oh fuck no. But at that point, This was one of the few times in my life to where my item hoarding paid off because I had, now mind you, we're not talking Final Fantasy numbers. I didn't have like 37 potions that restored all mana, I mean, all SP, all HP, everything. I had like 4, but guess what? I used all 4 of them and they all paid off.
I did the same thing.
Yeah, I went to my item inventory and I said, okay, just in case I need to save SP and manage SP better, I'm going to use these items. And then when my SP started to have problems, I had a few refill all of your SP meter. I'm like, man, this game's over. This is literally just a matter of time now because this guy cannot beat me. Beat the boss. Now, this is where it actually got interesting, and I was like, okay. Because, honestly, up to this point, I was like, all right, average. This is going okay. This is kind of going... The Akechi thing, I'm still kind of whatever about. The Memento stuff is kind of paying off. The shit... The Igor was bad the whole time, and then I found out after the fact that, hey, Chris, guess what? Igor's been in all kind of Velvet Rooms and all kind of Persona games. Go figure. I didn't know that.
Yeah.
So I would imagine people that have played other Personas have heard him talk, but he's had his original Igor voice. I hadn't played other Personas, so when he was like, welcome to the Velvet Room, I wasn't the guy that's like, that's not his voice. I was just like, dude, his voice is pretty cool. So yeah, Igor was tainted, and the girls were split in twain, and Morgana was created to go help. All that tied up pretty well. It tied up in a nice bow. Morgana passing away, I was like, oh man, that doesn't have to be that way. That sucks. I really wish that either I wish he was a real boy, or maybe he could get a wish and become a real boy. But no, he quote unquote died. And you leave out of the area, and your ass gets arrested. I was like, you fucking game. You are so real right now. You are so fucking real life. But Sai puts it to you in common sense. She's like, look, yes, you saved the world. This is how fucking silly, but real world thought process went into it. You know, yes, you just saved the world. Yes, the Phantom Thieves just solved all this problem and made all this stuff go away. But you're still Phantom Thieves. And they're going to arrest you. And you're like, are you fucking kidding me? It's like, no, we're not kidding you. So you can be the bro and you can get arrested and take the rap for your friends, or you cannot and you're all going to get fucked. Of course, I took the fucking thing. Number one, also backing up a little bit, of course I didn't take Igor's deal. I've heard that was a way that you get a bad ending.
Yes.
Yeah, that's one of the ways you get a bad ending. And I did actually have that spoiled ahead of time. Not directly. I knew as much in a cloudy mind thought process that something was going to happen and somebody was going to make you take it or ask you to take a deal, and if you took the deal you get a bad ending. If you don't take the deal, it would be a good ending. I didn't know it was Igor, and I didn't know what the deal was.
Okay.
So I had, unfortunately, as I was going up toward this whole end game area, I was thinking, okay, somebody's going to fucking shoot me a good deal. A really good fucking deal, and I guess I shouldn't take it. And then when the deal was proposed to me by Igor, the evil Igor, I was like, fuck you, I'm not taking that deal. That deal's stupid. And I thought, wait a minute, who the fuck would take that deal? Who played this game all the way through with all this shit and said, yeah, I like your deal, Igor. So yeah, that was kind of out the window for me. I did not get to see that bad ending. But, so yeah, Sai stops you and says, hey, good job, but you're going to get arrested. Do you want to take the fault for the team? Of course I'm going to take the fault for the team. I'm the leader. I'm Joker. Of course I'm going to do that. Couple cool things about that. I like how, actually sidestep, this is something else that I do like about Persona 5. Joker is a silent character, Chris, but he's also not a silent character.
Yeah.
He's a silent protagonist, but he's actually kind of not. he has a lot of dialogue in the game. He has a lot of battle dialogue. I mean, he speaks for himself. He says shit in the game like, hey, maybe I should save today. Or, hey, what's this? Or, oh, man, I need to hide behind the shadows. Or shit like that. So, this is actually a nice hybrid for a silent protagonist, you know, in my opinion.
Yeah, cutscenes, he has a voice.
Yeah, he has a... Chris, I will give you something if you can tell me his character's name. Like, Skull is Ryuji. You know what I mean?
Oh.
Well, Joker... His character has his character has a name.
I struggle to remember the other ones that they actually use.
Yeah, I know. That's so there's Ryuji has a last name. I forgot his last name, but Ryuji has a persona, has a mask which makes his character a name which they call Skull, and his persona is Captain Kidd. There's like 3 things to remember for every person. Yeah. And it's, God, wow, it's a lot to remember. But yes, your silent protagonist main character has an actual name, but I don't remember it. I think they say it like maybe 4 or 5 times in the game. But going back to the ending, a couple cool things I liked about the way they handled this little bit of the area. One, it was kind of like, man, not choking up so much, more like, man, and much respect for you. I like how he took the deal. And Sai was like, I mean, I can take you in right now. And he's like, no, give me a day. Give me a couple days to go fucking say my piece. And she's like, okay, you know, I'm going to come arrest you, or you can just turn yourself in a couple days. I know you're going to turn yourself in. I trust you. I like how they let you go around and talk to everybody, but they made the character not say that shit. Like... So it was, I mean, in a quote-unquote an asshole move, you were basically going to all your friends and being like, hey, we did a cool thing, right? Yeah, we had some fun times, but not telling them, oh, by the way, I'm going to jail in a couple days. So you really had another day or two to, maybe even a day, I forget how long it was, but you had time with all your friends to have a last little hoorah. It drove home the idea that, dude, you're probably fixing to go to jail. They actually kind of left that ambiguous too, because Sai kept saying, you may go to jail. You're probably gonna go, but they left enough room where I was thinking maybe something will happen. You know, maybe if you max out all of your confidants, they'll have another fucking Goku moment. Everybody will storm into the courtroom and go, please don't arrest them. They saved the world. Which technically, Chris, if we're really talking about it, if we're really getting down to it, the fact that everybody was against the Phantom Thieves from the get-go, or toward the end, and had this whole negative idea, but then they all gave their power to him. Why the fuck would anybody arrest the Phantom Thieves?
Yeah.
Like, we just saved the world, folks. But
that doesn't
whatever.
Make a whole lot of sense.
You know, anime shit, I get it. I respect the call that they made to where, yeah, we're just reminding you that we're trying to play like real life. They still want to put this fucking pence on somebody, and they're gonna pin it on the Phantom Thieves, and they're gonna arrest them for whatever. I was like, okay, cool. And then they let you hang out with friends, and you drove it home. Second cool thing, you got to hang out one last time, one night with your romantic interest. Mm-hmm. That was fucking deep. Because if you're only dating one person. Yeah, if you're only dating one person. If again, I think there may have been even options to tell your love interest that you were getting arrested, but I didn't do it. And it made it so, I was like, man, I was feeling the gravity of every single choice I made in conversation. I'm like, I am in real life going, man, this fucking sucks. Like, I'm having a good time and we're sharing a moment, but she doesn't know that this is our last moment for who knows for how long. But I'm fixing to leave. I'm turning myself in and bye-bye. And then you go to jail and then a month goes by. The fucking calendar just flips, and I was like, oh, so, okay, I literally went to jail, and I don't get to play myself in jail. Thought that'd be a cool little DLC bonus, a little side quest, like, you fucking wind up in jail, and there's somebody in the jailhouse has a palace, and I don't know. I would hope that people wouldn't fuck with you when you're in jail, He was, I think the characters in Persona 5, they're all high schoolers.
Yeah.
Or teenagers, except for, like, Yusuke. But, yeah, I can't, you don't know how bad of a life Joker has in jail, in juvie hall, or wherever the fuck he goes. But what you do know is he comes home. And I was like, that's pretty cool. And then fucking Morgana walks in. I was like, you motherfucker! You little fucker, you. And, yeah, and then some more time goes by in there. And then again, this ending had not, it didn't, this is not Final Fantasy VI ending for me. I'll tell you that right now. It's not a broke my heart in two or made me backflip for an ending. But it had those moments that went, God, this is so fucking real. Because they were like, hey, you get to go home now. It's time to go home. And I'm like, really? I don't want him to go home. Mm-hmm. And then all your friends are like, yeah, we like really subtle but obvious hints. Like, we don't really want you to go home, man. Stay. And I was like, yeah, man, just stay. And Sojiro's like, hey, you got to remember he has stuff to get home to. He was only here as like a tenant for a while, and his time's up, so he's going to go home. And then they all meet you at the place, and they're like, you didn't think we were going to let you go that easy. And I was like, he's going to stay. But no, they rode off together. And I was like, oh, they're going to have adventures out there. Yay. And then the credits started playing. I was like, all right, game. Okay. You wrapped it up. You did it good. You did it good. Again, I wasn't jumping for joy. I wasn't fucking, I'm not going to post this shit to Facebook with a 20 paragraph like, this is the best ending ever. But in a anime/video game reference way, they tied up all the bows. They ended everything very nicely. And I like the dips that they gave you. Hey, congratulations, you did it. You're getting arrested. And then Morgana showing up, being like, oh, yeah. And then, oh, yeah, you're leaving. Oh, no. But all your friends are going with you. Yay! So...
Yeah, I was wondering about the Morgana thing, because I was like, surely not. I mean, it makes sense that she's gone, yes, because Mementos is gone, but and I said she, it's actually he. Is he going to come back as a human? Yeah. Is that actually going to happen? And then the cat walks in, I was like, okay.
Came back as a mangy
fair enough.
Cat.
Fair enough.
And the freaking... the text, the dialogue and text boxes for him, it showed the actual cat instead of the Zorro mask looking, anime style cat.
I didn't even realize that.
Yeah, I did, because the animation quality of the actual cat, I was like, that's a little bit, I don't know how to describe it. Not that great, but all in all. Good fucking time with this game. I think I either gave it a 4 or a 4.5. I don't remember what I gave this game. Total, if I'm being very generous, we're talking like 250 hours. It might have been closer to 260. I don't know. But either way, long fucking time that I played this game. A lot of time that I put into this game. Mm-hmm. And rocky start at the beginning. Can't deny that. Won't deny that. It's on fucking record. I was wavy. I was wavy for close to 50 fucking hours into this game. But something about it kept me there, which is something that not every game has done for me in the past. There are lots of times where I played a game and I've made it 10 hours in and went, yep, not doing it for me. Or made it 30 hours in and went, fuck it. I made it all the way through fucking Legend Dragoon and stopped at the last disc, probably the last area, and said, fuck this game. Something about this game... The style, the art, the music, the story progression, I don't know, a combination of things kept me, just give it a little more. And I kept giving it a little more. Somewhere around the 50-something hour mark, I went, fuck yeah, I like it. Good. It's good. And then I was fucking doing cartwheels down the hallway talking about how good this game is. So
yeah, I hate going in Mementos still. It just got way too grindy for me. Yeah. But I'm to the point where I'm going to have to start grinding Mementos, because one of the trophies is fill out your Persona book thing. So I'm going to have to suck it up and just spend like days down there going, okay, what do I need to unlock still? All right, what do I need to craft those? Let's go to Velvet Room, craft what I can. All right, I'm out of money. I don't have the personas, for the ones I need to summon. So let me go grind some more money and more personas. What level are they on?
I will say this for anybody that hears this. This is going to be weird to say because we're in a spoiler talk, and I don't think anybody is going to listen to this that hasn't played the game already. But if you're somehow in this area of the talk, even though he does say grindy area, and I've said it before, I spent a lot of time in Mementos. The game is fairly good. You don't even have to. You don't have to grind down there. You can go down there and just do your missions and leave. But it is definitely designed to where, you know what? I got 2.5 weeks to kill before the next thing. You just got to do one. I'll spend 1 day in Mementos, and you can trek up and down the last areas, and you can grind the fuck out of gold and experience points. It's a tool for you to use that way if you want to. But you can also grind in the palaces too if you want to. I mean, the enemies respawn whenever you leave the room or 2 rooms away, so you can grind. If you want to grind, you can. But if you just progress through the areas and do what you're supposed to do, you have a moderate amount of challenge. This is also speaking on the normal difficulty. Hard, who the fucking knows? You may have to do nothing but grinding. Who knows?
Yeah, I wasted so much time playing on hard at the beginning. After that, it was just smooth sailing until the last area. I'm currently 26 hours into New Game Plus. But that 26 hours has gotten me to October. So I just hit October, and I'm like, God, do I have enough time to finish maxing out everyone? But
no shit.
I have 7 confidants maxed out at 10. I have 8 left to go that aren't, automatically given to you. So I'm making progress, and I don't even have the... I just started talking to the kid, so I'm going to have to boost his. I've got a little bit of time to go, because I just finished Futabas. That was the last one I did.
By the way, speaking of Futaba, I think I did have a talk about her. So, I'm going to ask you a question, Chris.
All right.
Before I get to the question, a little preface here. So we both talked about who our romance interests were.
Yeah.
And mine was Futaba. And I remember you mentioned the comment, you went for the jailbait. I took that as like a rib, as like, yeah, because she's so young, right? Chris, how old is Futaba?
She is 2 years younger than Joker would be, I think.
That doesn't sound good enough. I think I read somewhere or heard somewhere. I think it might have been in a review video. I binge watched like 20 different spoiler reviews now that I've beaten the game. I think someone either made a direct analyzation, a direct age, or they just made a joke that she was 15. I don't know. I have not gone out of my way to look that up. You just kind of want to brush that underneath the table because I didn't know. I didn't go after Futaba because she's a fucking 50-year-old. If she is, I just assumed that she was incredibly young, like the same age as everybody else in that game, and she just did not go to high school because she was a shut-in.
Right.
So you jokingly said jailbait. That's not why I picked her.
The wiki says 15 to 16 for her and 16 to 17 for Joker.
All right. Well, so the fact that they're close in age is, yeah. I didn't even take age into any accordance with any of them because I just assumed that they were all, if they were available to be a romance interest, it wouldn't have been even a fucking weird one from a game design perspective. But yeah, so I was just listening to a video, just fucking la la, my own world. I'm watching a YouTube video about Persona 5. 15 years old. That's what. What? And then I heard you in my head going, ha 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 ha, you took the jailbait. And I was like, oh, wait, no, of course I didn't. Anyway. But yeah, she was my interest, and I got to spend a night with her, and it was really both cool and heartbreaking. Again, because you weren't telling them, hey, just so you know, I'm going to jail.
Yeah.
Chris, I've talked at length about my thoughts and opinions at the end of this. What's your final thoughts and takeaways from Persona 5?
So, like I've said, I think Mementos got too grindy. And that's mainly if you are grinding money, if you're grinding personas, if you're only doing the requests, which that's all I'm doing in New Game Plus right now. I'm just going and doing the request. I've gone in twice that it didn't force me to do it. And the first time I knocked out like 5 requests. The next time I knocked out 6 or something like that. So if you save them up, it doesn't force you to do them. So I only went in the least amount I had to, and I just knocked them all out at once. There are a couple more I could technically have at this point, but I didn't have the Confidant high enough yet, so I didn't get it. So I've had no Mementos grind, and it's been so great.
Nice.
The end of the game does seem to ramp up in difficulty. I think you were over leveled at that point, so you may have not seen it as much as I did, but like I said, in that final Mementos area, in that long stretch between saves when you first get there, I died like 3 times. Yeah. And you have to go back to the very beginning because there's no save. I even got to the point where the last time I was doing it, I went a bit, triggered a bunch of cutscenes, and ran all the way back to the save. Yeah. Because I knew up here, these enemies are going to kick my ass because they're going to one-shot me, or they're going to... And one of the problems with it is that the enemies spawn behind you where you couldn't even see them. And so I kept getting surrounded because they technically ambushed me, even though I knew they were there.
Right, yeah.
If I didn't hit attack in time, they ambushed me. So I was instantly getting these one-shot hits on me, or all 3 of them, hitting everybody, putting status effects on. It was a mess, and that's why I kept dying.
Yeah, even for me, I was like level 78-ish, and I was like, dude, there's some fucking heavy hitters in here. They're heavy hitting. They have a lot of fucking HP. I'm having to sort through. I think like half of them didn't even have weaknesses, so it's just fucking do your best. Yeah. And the other half is they're throwing all kind of shit at you. Oh man, real quick. This is the one thing that I hated in this game. Though you have ways to get around it. You have things you can do to not be that way, and you also have items and magic you can use to dispel it. But when I want to say crazy, not crazy. That's not the right word, but whatever status you have that makes you just do whatever, you're just fucking crazy. Confused. I swear to God, Chris. And this would always happen. This happened for a good stint of times after I left Mementos with a fuck ton of money. They throw confuse. 3 of my party members would be confused. Every fucking one of them would throw money. Yep. And it's like, I've got, I'm thinking I'm fucking big baller here with like 100,000 gold or 100,000 money. And like, Ryuji's confused. Ryuji's turn. Ryuji just threw away like 17,000. I'm like, what? Yeah. And then I thought, okay, it's okay. I know how RPGs work. It's okay. They throw money out there like crazy. But when I win the match, I'll get all that money back. No, you do not. I watched one time while I did not have an item to cure it with. I'd used them all up. And the only person that was in my party, I forget which one of my people, had the ability to dispel that. I only had one person with that persona. It would be 2 because of Joker, but Joker was confused. Yep. So 3 fucking rounds go by until the confusion rolls out. Every fucking confused person, instead of hitting each other, or instead of throwing out an item, or hitting the enemy and missing, or trying to run, every one of them, 3, threw out money. I literally lost like 70,000 fucking gold in that span of time. Like, what? Can you guys do something else besides throw away the fucking money? Yeah. They're like, nah, here's 9,000 gold. Here's 16,000.
I didn't care so much about the money, but when they threw out my beads, that that was painful. And I actually had one where I was fighting a boss in the final Mementos dungeon. I don't remember where it was or what boss it was, but they confused Morgana. So Morgana full healed the boss. Because it didn't matter what the number was. It wasn't a number-based heal. It was the spell that heals party member to full.
Yep.
And it was half dead, over half dead when that happened. Mm-hmm. So it literally set me back like 20 minutes I'd been fighting it or something.
Wow.
It was ridiculous.
Yeah. Just again, this is a pro tip for people that aren't going to hear it, because if you haven't played the game, you won't be in the spoiler area. But good God, do not. This is a twofold help for you folks. Do not overlook status ailment like blocks and items that will dispel them, and also don't overlook them when you have the ability to use them, because trust me, you can use that shit, and almost if they can be slept, example, they will get slept. I rarely saw my status ailment magics miss or not work. If I wanted to confuse an enemy, they got confused. If I wanted to cure something, they got cured. And that, I think, an old RPG trope that I've always dealt with is, well, why don't you ever use this stuff? Well, because it might miss. Persona 5, it predominantly works. Bosses are hit or miss. It just depends on the boss. And there are actually some enemies in this game where, oh man, I went through the entire laundry list of all my spells and none of them work. There's no weakness. Hey, put an ailment on it, because they are susceptible to ailments. So yeah, don't overlook those things. I didn't even
try those for weaknesses.
Yeah?
Yeah, I experienced early on, and maybe that's because I started on hard, but they didn't do a whole lot of good. I rarely hit them, though later on, personas, especially for your allies, do get a lot of boosts to give them a better chance of landing it, so that helps if you take that. I didn't use them, so I didn't take it. I took the stuff to boost, the power of their moves, or the buffs and debuffs.
Yeah. I remember many times, mainly mementos, sometimes in palaces too, where like I would have, how you can tell the enemy type you're about to fight because of the color of what they are. And I'd get a fucking red group, and it'd be like 6 really hard-hitting, high HP, holy fuck enemies. And I would get halfway through the fight and go, I need to recoup. I need to hold the fuck on. And I'd have somebody with a spell that would put everybody to sleep. And it would be like medium chance to put everybody to sleep. Pop that bitch, everybody went to sleep. Cool. I recoup HP, recoup whatever I need to do, get back in the battle. By the time I wake up, I'm good to go. And I'm like, God, man, if I was playing who knows what other RPG, they'd be like, yeah, you hit one person. And then as soon as their turn come up, they woke up anyway.
Yeah,
so they did a pretty good job of incorporating this in this game, from my experience anyway.
Yeah, I mean, it's one of those things I probably should have used more than I did, but I'd rather just go out with damage or just stay back and heal. I didn't really do any in the middle, debuffs. I will say, as far as the enemies debuffing me, Joker, in my game, I did not finish with that SP item on, the SP accessory. Really? I finished with something that blocked... I want to say rage or something like that. Confusion. Yeah. One of the ones that I kept getting screwed over by. I was like, you know what? I'll take this to SP. I'll use items. I don't care. I do not want Joker getting this effect on him.
Yep. I spayed Joker. Yep. That's what I did. I paid very close attention to him once this was kind of early on-ish, but once I realized how fucking vital he was, dude, I'll let 1 to 2 other party members die. I don't give a fuck. My next turn up, if he has 50 and you have 53, he's getting healed. I'm sorry. Yeah. Like, I'm taking care of him, and then they died. Well, fucking sorry. I've had to bring you back to life, but he lives.
I did not like that. I don't like having one character that just game's over. Especially with because there are AoE insta-kill moves. Just yesterday I was working on the New Game Plus, and I got screwed over because I got hit by an AoE insta-kill, and this was on a boss. This is one of the Mementos request bosses.
Yeah.
So I went in there, I was like, okay, I'll just knock all these out because they're weak, and the boss wasn't strong at all. But when it got to about 75% health, I went, okay, I'm going to hit you with AoE insta-kill curse move. And I'm like, oh, I didn't know that was going to happen. So I'm like, all right. And fortunately, because it's the boss, it lets you just restart the battle. Because I hadn't saved for a while. Because I was just burning through the levels, burning through the requests to get to the boss. So I was like, all right. So I restarted the battle. Okay. I'll just, nail. Hope that doesn't happen again. Happened again.
Oh, yeah.
The first time, Joker was the only one that died from it. Someone else actually got hit by it, but they did the 1 HP recovery thing. Whatever that's called, where they bear the damage.
Yeah.
Don't actually go down. The second time, I had like 3 out of 4 people die. I'm like, all right, fine.
Yeah.
So I started the fight, instantly swapped Joker to the persona that blocks curse damage. Did not take it off the entire fight.
Yep.
I was like, I'm done risking this. I'm done fighting this boss. I'll just deal with it.
The curse, not the curse one wasn't. There was one that makes it's like fear, like you're shaking. I remember whenever it comes to you, it's like you're the person's shaking or something. Despair. Yeah, and then there's a group of enemies. Yeah, there's a group of enemies. Either I want to say they were in Mementos, and they were the red flame type that you find. There would be 5 of these fucking. I want to say they look like Medusas, and as soon as the fucking match starts, they would pop all. It just took one. It was fucking AOE despair attack. All 4 of your party members are spared. Hey, guess what, Chris? Put your controller down. You can do nothing now.
Yep.
Because the shit doesn't fall off. It stays there for 3 turns. Normally things fall off around 3 turns. I've noticed that. Yeah. But despair kills you on the 3rd turn. So all 4 of my party members are despaired. I cannot control them. They just sit there and go, ugh, and then 3 turns go by. The enemies attack me. Another turn goes by. Enemy attacks me. 3rd time goes by. Oh, everybody dies one by one. Game over. And it's like you literally can do nothing. You might as well just fucking reset your PS4 because you're in for about 4 minutes worth of attack. Can't move. Yeah.
Yeah, so anyway, overall, the game, like you said, it wrapped up everything nicely. I don't think there's anything that I was left curious about. Most of my curiosities were things I just hadn't done, like with the confidants, getting through their personal stories, but I'm seeing that now on my New Game Plus because I'm actually focusing on them. The ending, like you said, it was very Dragon Ball Z-ish, and they're giving Joker their power, but it made sense, with the cognition part of it.
Yeah, I mean, they played a big part in society itself being either for you or against you, and then it played a big part in the end. So it was in your face the whole time. It just played a part in the ending.
Yeah, so question for you on near the ending. When that bar's filling up with your, do the phantoms exist or whatever? Phantom thieves exist? Did your bar get all the way to 100%?
No, it didn't.
No, mine didn't either.
It was like 70-something, which I was like, okay, well, I guess that's enough. It's doing its thing, but shouldn't it? I was waiting for the actual anime thing to happen, like it to go to 100 and start to fucking shake, and then the end cracks off and it starts bleeding into the area, and it's like, oh no! But
I was actually
that wouldn't make any sense.
Something.
That wouldn't make sense, Chris, because remember they fucking cheered you on, and then somebody was in a fucking trial or whatever that got you thrown in jail. So. The people that you went to, the people in the courtroom, the people that held you in handcuffs, they were all there going, "Yep, sorry, buddy, you gotta go to jail."
Yeah. So yeah, it was overall good experience. New Game Plus is so nice, not having to worry about the stats or even the dialogue. The game is so long because of the dialogue. Primarily because of all the dialogue. If you just let it play through at its natural rate and listen to the voiceovers, so fast if you don't.
Oh yeah, that is definitely a meat part of this game that people can take away. If you haven't heard from anybody else telling you about this game, it may sound off-putting if you're not totally into a lot of dialogue and a lot of story, but I'm telling you right now, fleshed out is definitely a phrase to use with Persona 5.
Yeah.
All of your confidants get thoroughly fleshed out. If you want to talk about a mechanical level, they get 10 different times that you talk to them, and you get to choose things for them and with them, and you get expanded story on every character, and there's no set length. You can go talk to somebody, hey, I'm going to go hang out with Yusuke today, and you get like 12 bubbles of dialogue. And then you go next week and you get like 42. But it's fleshed out and important, and it means something, and it's and you're a part of them. It's not just your party members that you're all about. It's all these other people. Definitely fleshed out stories and characters all the way around.
Yeah, I was surprised to have these confidants that were people that weren't in my party.
Yeah.
I mean, there's one thing when we got to Futaba, and she was, the navigator or whatever, which I thought was a little okay. I'd rather have actually had another party member.
Apparently, that's another Persona thing, Chris. That's what I've understood. Like, every Persona, you always have a supporting character. But I felt the same way as you. It's like, yeah, but I'd rather
there's Morgana before.
Yeah, Morgana's but she was in your party. Yeah. I don't know.
Yeah. I mean, there are a couple minor things that I didn't like about the game. As far as, the overall length, I still think it's too long. I think they could have compressed some of the stuff.
Mm-hmm.
And, God, there's another mechanic. I'm trying to think of what it was. But it is really, really annoying.
Yeah, it has a couple battle things in it, and even maybe some story things in it that are just like, can deal without. But as an entire package, had a damn good time. It sucks for me, and I blame it's completely me. It's all on me. I'll take the brunt of it. That it took me so long to get that invested into it, but once I did, it's less and less like the fucking door got opened and the light was just blurring, blinding my face, and more like I kept seeing this as a beautiful picture. I kept seeing things as like, this something about this is cool, and that's cool, and that's nice, and that's cool. And then once whatever the fuck happened and it clicked, I was like, oh yeah, this is it all makes sense. I got it. Tracking, running with it, full speed.
Yeah, I did run into my first bug.
Oh yeah?
Did you experience any glitches or bugs when you're playing?
No glitches, no bugs. I've found 2 grammatical errors in the entire game, and that's a lot. Yeah. I mean, that's not a lot. I'm saying there's a lot of fucking text and dialogue. And I found one was like a comma that was not used properly, and one was a misspelled word. And I was like, still 2 for this much fucking text? Holy shit.
Yeah, so this was when I was going through my Mementos request clears. I saved before going in, or like when the day started or whatever, like I usually do. Went in, was going through bosses, I think that was the run where I had either 5 or 6 to do, and I get like halfway to 3/4 through the request I had to work on, go into a boss fight, and Joker appears on screen, and then nothing else happens.
Oh, wow.
So the persona never summoned behind him, like it does when you first go into combat. The enemy may or may not have been there. The party members never showed up. None of the buttons did anything. So I actually had a hard quit out of the game and go back in. So that was very frustrating. It lost me, 20 minutes, if that. Because these were requests I was literally burning through on auto attack. Because I saved them for so long. I was still in like the first 2 areas. So they were super weak. But yeah, one bug. Not a huge deal. That's on my New Game Plus. Yeah, so I went through the entire base game without ever running anything like that.
There were a couple times, either through palaces or mementos, where I would die to whatever enemy or enemies and have to I'd have to fucking reload a save. Man, that fucking, what do you want to do, bruh? You want to reload from the last save or go to the title screen? I'm like, God, no, both of those are equally the fucking same thing. Come on, man.
Yeah.
Thank God, most bosses you can be like, you want to start the fight over? Yes, please. Thank you. But most of the time when I died in Palace or Mementos and had to track back a ways, it was usually my fault. I would pass. There was a time where I fucking died in Mementos to something, and I had to run back through like 12 floors. Now, mind you, that's 12 floors of fighting every enemy because I'm grinding and getting gold or whatever. That's picking up all the items, which now are different. So who knows what cool things I blew out at. And as I'm passing through these floors, I'm like, there's a break floor. There's a break floor. There's a new area. I could have saved. Yeah, this is my fault. Yeah, I ain't got nobody else to blame but me. I could have saved, and I died of the room after a fucking break room. So, hey man, fucking RPG 101, bruh. Use your fucking save points and use your save times when you're supposed to. Yeah, at the end of the day, folks, I loved it. Good game, had a good time with it. Would definitely recommend it. If I had to say anything about my experience, man, do not give up on this game. If you have any like or love for RPGs in any way, shape, or form, give this one a try. And again, as I told you, Chris, it's going to be very interesting for me from here on playing other RPGs. Because it's not just the style that this game oozes from every fucking corner. It's the detail that they pay attention to for everything. There are ways the battle system is set up to help you and give you not even just help, but just like fucking shortcuts and just things to, it's quality of life things that I'm gonna miss. But yeah, also the style and the design and the way the battle system is set up and everything. It's going to be interesting now, having played this and being not babied, but maybe spoiled, so to speak, with this game, with this game's RPG everything compared to what other RPGs have to offer.
I did think the style was a little overboard at first, but it just kind of grew on me as time went by and didn't mind it as much. I do think it's maybe still a little bit too much, out there, but it fits.
It's right up my alley, bro. I love it. Love everything about it. And to this day, I'm still singing songs. No shit, man. When I was pacing around anticipating that last hour or two of my test today, I noticed myself still humming something. I was humming the Battle Victory from Persona 5, and I was humming fucking Mementos music. And I've actually been doing this for a while. I have incorporated actual Persona music into my MP3 player, which I do for lots of games and whatnot. But the music is stuck with me, and a lot of style about this game is stuck with me.
And it's your ringtone now.
Oh yeah, I got some ringtones from my phones. I got some text messages. Man, I told you I fucking love Ryuji's voice. I love his enthusiasm. He's like, Persona. I didn't realize this is how bad it is for me, man, being old and fucking dumb. As much as I've had Ryuji in my party, which as my playthrough went, I think I did a pretty good job of balancing out. Every time I would go into Mementos or go into a new palace, I would make sure to swap new people or swap a new combination of people. So I got a better feel for all of my people. But as many times as I had Ryuji in my party, I mistook something he said. I always thought he said, and it always confused me because it didn't make sense in this type of game, but I thought he said, "One up, Persona." I thought he would say, "What up, Persona?" He doesn't. He says, "Whoop 'em, Persona," which that fits Ryuji. He says, "Whoop 'em, Persona," and I'm like, so when I was going through sound effects and heard that part, I was like, "Oh, you're such a fucking dumb. You're so one up." Yeah, no fucking wonder it doesn't make sense, dumbass. There's no fucking one ups in the game. He says, "Whoop 'em." As corny as that sounds, that's fucking Ryuji all around. All right. In Persona music now. Let's move on to our next dual week topic for the week. I want to make an apology to you, Chris. I'm gonna be better at this now. And I told you that I have not played, as far as D&D goes, I played D&D, you could loose quote mark say twice in my life.
Okay.
Played it one time in grade school for probably a month or so, maybe. This was grade school. This was back in, I don't even know what D&D version. Mm-hmm. This is grade school, probably 5th grade, who knows. And I was gonna play it in high school, but we never got around to it. So that, I don't count that. And there was one time when I was being deployed, again, for around about a month period of time, and it just fell off. I played it again. I could not tell you the character I made, the character name, alignment, what roles I had, I couldn't even tell you what our fucking adventures were. That's how out of my mind D&D is. Mm-hmm. As such, I am going into this thing so fucking new. I feel bad. Thankfully, now that we had this other guy in our party that also seems fairly new, I'm like, oh, thank God I'm not the only one. But now that I don't have this test shit on my head anymore, I can now take some free time and go read up on my character, like classes and roles and what all these fucking numbers mean. Because I ain't gonna lie, bro. Right now, my character sheet, I'm looking at a bunch of fucking numbers. I kind of got an idea how some of this shit works, but I'm like, wall of numbers. So I'm gonna try to get better at learning my character and stuff, and hopefully I won't be such a fucking burden. But bro, you've been a good sport. You've been a really good sport about babying me through. I appreciate that. For those that aren't aware of what we're talking about, last episode Chris was talking about getting a D&D campaign started, and we're going to work on that. And I have gone through the length of making my own character, and we are Sally forth doing this.
Yeah.
So yeah,
I started out, and I think I mentioned last week that I had like 8 people interested. That ended up dropping down to 5. But those 5 have now made characters.
Yeah.
And we have 2 that may be interested in it. Haven't talked to either yet. So I'm still waiting on that, and then we'll get their characters created if they're interested. But I'm actually going to be sending out a link today to start coordinating schedules and try to get a time nailed down in a day for at least the next session. But it's one of those things, and I talked about splitting up the group. Since we're down to 5, I'm not going to do that anymore, because it wouldn't make sense to just do a campaign with 2 people, and then the other with only 3. And I think there's only really 1 person. Let me take a look at my list. Yeah, there's only 1 person on 2 people now, with Adam joining us. Which actually means we dropped down to 4 of our original 8 that were interested. And Adam just popped in. Adam and 1 other guy, they're the 2 that actually have the history with it. And so it would have been the other way around with, 3 newer players and then 2 more experienced. But I don't think it's necessary anymore. And after working through the character creation, I don't think it's going to be a problem.
Yeah.
Our newest guy might struggle a little bit, but it's one of those things that once the character sheet is created and the basic how do you do what things are worked out, it all generally works the same, and you only have to worry about something else when you level up.
Yeah. I already have it in my head, and I'm not talking from a fucking DM perspective, but being a fellow player, I already have it in my head that, man, once we do get the campaign started and we actually start playing, no matter how many nights a week it is, I'm giving myself, dude, no shit, like a solid fucking month of growing pains. Like, it may not take that long. I may be completely overshooting it, but if a month from after playing like 1 to 2 nights a week, I can't fucking hear you say, hey, you should roll for this, and I can't roll my own thing and go, oh, add this, bam, bam, then I've got a problem. I'm obviously retarded.
Well, that's one of the things that's good about Roll20 is I go, okay, you need to roll a saving throw. You go, okay, here's my saving throw box. Which type am I rolling? Okay, it's strength. Okay, let me click on strength in the saving throw box, and it rolls it for me.
Yeah.
I mean,
it's really cool.
It takes out so much of the trouble. And you had mentioned when we were talking last, not on the podcast, but you actually started watching Critical Role. And I don't know how much of it you watched, but as it goes through, you'll notice they spend a lot of time on the rolls.
Yeah. Just for right now, I'm actually in the process of getting all the episodes, period, so I can start, watching all of them.
Yeah.
But I have watched the entire first episode, and I'm probably about maybe half an hour to an hour in the second.
Okay.
And yeah, I am not expecting that until like a month from now. Again, that may be completely overshooting it, but I'm expecting, us to be not even fucking a battle, just somewhere, and you're like, okay, we need to roll a perception check, and somebody goes, helps that, and well, what is it? Okay, well, this, you know what I'm saying? I expect us all to be helping each other and not being. I'm giving all, including myself, just take a breath. We're all new. Let's figure this shit out. After a month of us repeatedly going through this shit for hours on end, hopefully we should all have it down. Hopefully we should all be at that level.
Yeah, like I said, with Roll20 in the mix, that makes it so much easier, so much faster. And I was bringing up Critical Role for that reason. They spend, and this is on, I'm up to watching certain segments in 2x speed now.
Oh, wow.
I've gotten used to 1.5 now, so 1.5 is my standard. I don't even go to 1.25
I remember you telling me
anymore.
that. Yeah. And I can see what you mean, dude. There's in campaign 1, there's like 115 episodes, all around 3 hours, and I'm like, yep, I'm diving in. Here we go.
Yeah, the playlist for campaign 1 has 141 videos. I'm on video like 115, but it's actually episode 100 or something like that, because they have a couple in between things.
Yeah, you're way down in the hole, man.
Oh, yes. And I enjoy it, but I need to get through this.
Yeah.
There's a lot still to watch, so I'm watching at 2x speed whenever I can. Whenever it's not a fight I won't put up above 1.5, but when they're just hanging around town, shopping, doing inconsequential stuff, just party interaction, basically, 2.0 it is.
Can we have like a really quick, just like Critical Role talk?
Sure.
I don't know if this is too old for you to remember, because again, I've only seen the first episode, but I love how they play their characters. I don't think I've said it of course I haven't said it on the podcast yet, but my initial take on this was, okay, so Chris's thing telling me is this is a bunch of people playing D&D over like, it's a video, so you got a DM and I'm like, okay, well, God, this is going to sound so fucking mean, and I promise you it's not. But I was like, how nerdy are these people? And I didn't mean nerdy as in a derogatory, evil, mean-spirited way. It's more like, I meant like rule specific. Are these the kind of guys that sit around and go, all right, wait, let me pull out 17 fucking books and make sure the dice are correct and make sure this is correct. Actually, you can't do that because this is some pro Jared shit that I'm pulling out here, but I don't want to watch people that are so fucking anally serious about D&D. That would ruin it for me. That would so fucking ruin it. Like, I'm number one, I'm new. I'm not ready for that. But two, that takes away fun for me. I'm not trying to be super analytical. If I wanted to be that, and I think, again, I'm going to steal a quote from Pro Jared. If I wanted to be that critical about precision and numbers and following exact rules, I would go play a video game. Because a video game is D&D with specific rules. If you want to run for battle, the rules in this RPG say you will drop money. And I expect to do that. If I want to level, I have to do this specific... There are a lot of rules in video games. Freedom is what you get from D&D. And I want the freedom. So I loved... First thing right off the bat that I knew this is going to be a pretty good show, the one that made me uncross my arms and not look down my nose, is when Matt Mercer said, he looked at the chat and he's like, a rule before we even start this whole thing, this 102,000 episode thing, for everybody out there listening and watching and going to type shit in my chat. These are house rules. a lot of them are going to follow house rules. So don't be an asshole. I was like, fuck yeah, man. Awesome.
Yeah.
So that tells me that they're going to play by the rules, quote unquote. But if shit comes around, they go, yeah, it's a fucking game. It's cool. We'll roll with it. And there was a time, I forget what it was, there was some kind of role that came up in episode 1 where he was like, yeah, but it's okay. What I tell you guys, house rules, don't be mean. I was like, yes, bravo. And also with them playing their characters, dude, they're Joe Blow people. I mean, they're actors. I'm not trying to discredit them, but they're just fucking people in their clothes, eating popcorn, playing D&D. And when it came time to talk,
eating popcorn often.
Literally. And whenever it came time for them to talk, they would talk in their character's voice. Sometimes, not always, but mainly they would. And they would act out, but they would talk and joke and fucking have a good time and have fun. And I like that. They weren't super fucking hardcore into it, but they also weren't so lax that they were just throwing the fucking rule book out and being like, yeah, I'll just fucking, yeah, whatever. Yeah. Good mix. Yeah. Good mix.
A lot of it, starting out, I think they were literally just making the transition from Pathfinder to 5e.
Yeah.
So it was a lot of growing pains for them early on, and they do get more by the book later on, to where they're actually going, okay, how does the book say this works? And sure, Matt will make a calling on it as the DM, whether it's house related or not, and going, okay, this is how we're going to do this. This is the call I'm making on this. Something simple, but is a big deal is, okay, well, how do you round halves? Do you round up or round down? And for a while, he had no rhyme or reason what he was doing, but then one episode, like 60 episodes in, he's like, we're rounding down for all damage moving forward, because, whatever.
Yeah.
For both players and enemies. So it's a consistent rule, and it's something that should have been established early on. It really kind of blew my mind that it wasn't. Yeah. Considering how, because they played for a couple years prior to this even starting as a web series.
Yeah.
But he's like, yeah, we're going to do that. And going through up to this point that I am in it, they don't often debate a rule. It's usually only when it is literally a character's life on the line.
And that's what I meant. That's what I was getting at. I'm going to plug Pro Jared's videos. Chris, I encourage you to watch them as well if you haven't already. But for anybody out there looking to get in D&D, this is preface. This is totally coming from the mind of a guy that has not played D&D. Just might as well say I have not played. I've got some general ideas about D&D, and I've played some video game RPGs, but it's not the same. This is coming from somebody that's from an outside perspective, looking in and watching somebody who has played D&D often in their life and has DM'd. There's a YouTube channel out there called Pro Jared. He has a lot of video game videos. That's his primary thing that I know him from. But he also has a series called D&D December. 2 videos that I highly suggest you watch for you and for everybody else. 1, how to be a good player in D&D. And it's not like how to be the best player. It's just how to be a cool person, how to be a cool dude when you play the game. The other one is how to be a good DM. And there's 2 takeaways that I got from both of those videos. Being a player, play your character. Stop trying to play the rules. Which is what thank you. That's what I'm looking for. I don't want to be in a fucking room with a bunch of guys for 4 fucking hours being almost getting ready to punch each other because no, this rule specifically says on page 2, if you reference Article 5 of the Warrior Handbook, subsect references this, that he cannot pick up that chair. I'm telling you, Chris, I would leave this fucking game in a heartbeat. I know you're not going to be that way. I'm just saying, that's not the shit that I want. But the bigger thing, which doesn't apply to me, applies maybe more for you, for the DM, take it as you will, is, again, don't be a fucking rule hog. D&D is about adventure. It's about being cooperative. It's about having fun. And if you bog everything down with rules in a game where you're supposed to be thinking and think outside of your box and play as your character, You just don't tell everybody no. If somebody wants to do something, go yes. You can check them with a roll. You know, somebody walks into a bar and says, "Oh, I'm a barbarian. I want to fight people. I pick the strongest guy and I pick up the barmaid and throw him." Well, no, you couldn't do that. No, just say, "Sure, roll for this." You know, and that's the kind of DM I'm thinking you're going to be anyway. You do not seem like a fucking anally retentive rule hog.
Yeah. So the biggest thing when it comes to rules that I care about is often on more of the technical side with equipment and whatnot, because D&D is fairly balanced. It's when you start creating your own like items and whatnot that it gets imbalanced. Even on Critical Role, this has come up now in their campaign because they're getting these super powerful items, and some of them are items out of the book, some aren't. And the ones that aren't, even if, you know, that item in particular may not by itself be overpowered, mixing it with this other item that's an out of the book item has now made it overpowered.
Yeah.
You know, or ridiculous. It's like, all right, he's like, I did that. Oops. You know, and he looks at the camera and goes, "DMs, balance your items better." So that's really where I care about.
That's what I've picked up. Again, I'm only talking from episode 1, but I like the idea where Matt's pretty much given the idea of, we follow rules here, but we play loose. A lot of just if they want to, like, for example, spoiler warning for Critical Role. Whenever they were in this initial city and they went to that manor and they talked to the butler, and the butler was like, "Yeah, the dude you're looking for is down the mines," and the bard was like, "I turn invisible and go in the house," and everybody around him was like, "What are you doing?" He's like, "I don't know, but I'm doing it." I like that. You know, he might not have planned that. He might have planned for the whole party to be in there. He as a DM picks up shit on the fly. And that's just another thing that I picked up from Pro Jared. Like, it's cool if you spent a day and a half making this like event and campaign happen, but if your characters say they get bogged down with another thing and they talk to another NPC, just fucking make shit up on the fly. Let them go adventure. Don't go. No, actually, you guys can't leave the town because there's an invisible wall. You have to come this way and talk to this NPC like I wanted you to. Yeah.
Yeah, it's usually something that's not as, you know, blatant. Like in the home campaign, you know, I had a plan for the party and what they were doing, but they had to wait a little bit, you know. So I was giving them opportunity to pass some time. And instead of really walking around the city and doing stuff that occupied their time, or just going, okay, we're going to hang out until it's time, they actually went, you know, to the mercenary hall. They're like, "Hey, do you have any work?" And they're like, "Yes, but we're also waiting for the same thing you are, so we don't really want to, we need our resources available in case something comes up relating to this request." So it's kind of reducing the avenues of going off the rails. Later on in Critical Role, Matt actually plays it's a one shot with 3 random people, I say. One of them's part of the crew, and then I don't remember who the other 2, if they were actually part of the crew or just other, you know, Geek and Sundry people. But at least one of them had never played D&D. One played quite a bit, and the other one was kind of in the middle. And they didn't plan a campaign. They didn't even have characters created at the start of the episode. Wow. So they were creating characters with the help of like 4 of the actual Critical Role players.
Nice.
While Matt was doing a Dungeon Master Q&A type thing.
Oh, nice.
So while he did that for 20 minutes, they created characters and came up with their backstories. And then told him...
Like on the fly.
Yeah,
wow.
And told him, okay, this is my character, this is my character, and this is my character. He's like, all right. So, you guys are setting off. And he ran them through this whole, you know, 1 episode long, one-shot campaign just on the fly.
Wow.
And it was very interesting.
I tell you, on that note, Chris, I do not envy you the work, brother. I feel like that it would take me some time and a lot of experience to get where it is, but the fact that you're taking on a DM role on your own, whew, man, you got work.
Yeah, I do.
Again, so let's talk about some things that a DM has to do, folks. He has to ensure that people have characters created accurately. He may not have to make the characters for them, but he has to make sure that what they're doing is following the rules. They don't just throw a paper at him and go, hey, I've got a fucking warlock with 24 strength and 24 everything else. Yeah, he has to make sure this shit's working. He has to create a campaign, so there's a huge overarching storyline of some degree that's going to last for days, hours, weeks on end. Asterisk, they may not even follow everything that he's saying. He may have like a 2-month plan out, but it may take 7 months because fuck, they went to this town and went to that place and did this, did that. So anything that he doesn't have scripted, they got to make up on the fly and just fucking spin it out. And not only spin it out, this is something else Pro Jared talked about. I'm gonna plug this guy after y'all watch it. Is that he has to add life to what they're doing. If we're walking down the street and he has guided us to go find Gerald Stormwind in this tavern, but our bard sees an old person on the side of the road that you mentioned and is like hurt or whatever, if we go talk to that person, he has to go, well, shit, let me make up a name for this person. Let me make up a quick background. Let me make up a reason why he was on the side of the road. Let me make up a life around him. Like, that happens on the fly. And that he may make a whole nother fucking scenario right there. It's like playing Witcher 3, but you have to make this shit up. Which, again, is a good game. You should play that, Chris. Because that happens in Witcher 3 a lot. You can start one place, and you're like, okay, I am going to the forest to go find this griffin. And then on the way there, you get fucking kidnapped by bandits. Which take you to some royal place. So they're like, hey, we were looking for you, Witcher. Looks like we're going to collect on this bounty, and the day of your execution, other Witchers come and save your day. And they go, hey, we saved your life. You mind helping us on this quest? That's what a DM has to go through at times. He can kind of guide people to where they want to go, but that's not, you don't always want to railroad people. Again, another Pro Jared quote, you don't want to avoid the cutscene. If you have made something happen this way, don't stop people. Hey, no, you're not, don't do that. This is going to happen. No, if they want to fucking pull a bow out and shoot the noose that's going to kill this person, let them do it. So has to make characters, has to make a campaign, has to always be checking himself and checking the rules. He's got to keep a lot of shit secret to himself because you don't want everybody to know what you're doing because it would spoil everything. He has to look at the backgrounds of every character in the bio and if he's cool and good, he will try to incorporate that shit into the world and campaign in some way. All while dictating the adventure as it happens and simultaneously breathing life into this story and making it entertaining, other than you go into cave, you see bat, warrior, swing your sword, roll your damage, you hit the bat, it's dead, you move forward. Like, yeah. So, man, hats off to you, buddy. You got your work cut out for you.
Yeah. I really like, and I hope we get to the point where, and I'm hoping we even start out at somewhat of this point with the backgrounds and whatnot, but with the Critical Role crew, they got to the point where, sure, he had his overarching story, but the players themselves were actually making lists of stuff they had to do based on either, their personal goals, things they'd run into in the past, the overarching story related stuff, and they're like, all right, we have this and this to do. What do we want to do? So, but a lot of that was built around their background and tied into the overarching thing. So it's like, okay,
nice.
Like Keyless, she has her druid journey she's on, where she has to go to these 3 places, not counting her homeland, and talk to each one. Well, they're spread across the world. So at the point of where they began with the series, she had visited 1 already, so she also has 2 more. I think one of them happens fairly early on, and then the other one is not too long before the part I'm at. So there's 80 episodes, but that's part of her personal stuff.
Yeah.
But those NPCs and those places are relevant to the overarching campaign. There are points where they affect the greater world. So it's, taking, okay, what are the players wanting to do with their character? Tie it into this overarching story, move on from there. And that's why, like, you gave me like 18 paragraphs worth of backstory. I'm like, okay,
17, come on.
I could, build a campaign around this.
Well,
alone.
This was my... Chris is poking fun at his big brother, folks. Let me tell you how this really went, okay? I didn't know that other players didn't see my bio. That probably sounds common sense to all you D&D aficionados. I did not know that. So I made my character enough to where when somebody saw me, they knew a lot about me. Apparently, the only person that really needs to know a lot about you is the DM, which that does make sense. You want the DM to know about you. That way, if they choose to, they can craft stuff around you. You don't have to craft shit around all my detail if you want to. I just gave you enough flesh of my character to where you have a good idea of what they're trying to be. Mm-hmm. I didn't mean to write a novel. It's actually since, and I'm not going to say who I've copied here for obvious reasons that our compatriots may be listening to this episode, but I picked my character for a reason. I try to copycat a lot of things to this character because this is my first time.
Well, I'm going to spoil a lot of it when, I'm going to spoil what you copied when we talk about the next thing after D&D.
Okay, well, yeah, we'll have spoilers coming up. So this is for the people that are going to be playing the campaign right now with us. So it's a very small spoiler thing. But I intentionally copycatted a lot of shit for this character just because I'm brand new. When I have gone past this campaign and know a good amount of shit about this game and what I'm doing, then I'll try to let my imagination flow and make some off-the-wall bullshit. Right now, I was like, I just want to put something standard in, copy-paste. Woohoo! Let's just make this character. So we'll see how it turns out. I can tell you now, man, I'm extremely excited. Especially, bro, on a real life note. Now that I don't have to fucking deal with this test shit anymore, I can actually listen to what you're saying and make notes and go read stuff and not be like, man, I'm gonna have to get to that. I have to get to that later. Now I can focus on it a little more. Two other things real quick before I move on to what you want to talk about. A couple things about Critical Role. When I was talking about what I want to talk about with them, two of the funniest, coolest things that's already happened in this thing. I love it. I love how they role play their characters, which is what I want to do with my character. I want to role play my character. I want him to be what I'm doing, not, a ranger doing what a ranger does. But right. Again, I don't know if you remember this or not. This is episode 1, but when they went to that first tavern, and the guy that played the barbarian, I think his name was Grog. His name was character.
Yes.
So Grog, the fucking barbarian, walks in and goes, "Who's the strongest one in here?" And I was like, that's exactly what a fucking barbarian would do. Mm-hmm. He even said in his character bio, remind me to ask you a question when I'm done fucking yelling about this. But He talks about in his character, he's like, he's known for causing for multiple brawls in bars. So when he walks in this tavern, all the other party members are looking around, getting a feel for the audience, and he fucking stumbles in and is like, "Who's the strongest one here?" And they're like, "That guy over there." He's like, "I'll be back." And I'm like, yeah, play that character. And the other one, this is actually something I let my wife watch with me. Whenever they went to, in that same town, they went to the mage's house. Yeah, and they were trying so hard to get their persuasion rolls and shit, and it would not play out. And finally the rogue was like, "Good sir, listen, it's obvious that we are stupid. But I implore you that we're doing this for a good cause and trying to help. And yes, we may be very dumb, but we have good intentions." Mm-hmm. It's not only the funny moment that they made, but that shows you how they as characters played their character. The roles just weren't in their favor. Even when he thought he made a good role, obviously the DM made a role that checked that, and it said, "No, I'm sorry, you didn't get to talk to him the way you wanted to. Be gone." Mm-hmm. So That's what I like about D&D. I like how I can tell Chris, I'm going to try this thing. And Chris will go, yeah, sure, roll this dice, hope it works. And I roll, and I go, yeah, I made an 18. And then you roll, and I don't know what you roll, but you roll a 23. Sorry, man, that didn't work. It's not a, you can't do that because the subsection of, man, fuck you. I like the role. That's what D&D is. It's role playing. It's how are you as a person thinking about what you're doing and what outside of the box other than fucking swinging a sword can you do. Yeah. And I hope this will challenge my imagination and problem solving skills and all that more so than, hey, we went into a battle and I swung my sword around a lot and I killed things, you know?
Yeah, I can't remember if it's covered in the handbook or not. I'd have to actually go back and look. But I know one thing that Matt talks about is if they're in a conversation like that and they're constantly failing, the roll they have to get will go up like 5 every time they fail.
Yeah, yeah.
So if they're persistent about it, it gets to the point where it's literally unachievable unless they roll a natural 20.
And if you notice that, he plays like that through the conversations. Mm-hmm. You know, he's like, okay, you tried this time? Yeah, no, I'm about to leave. No, here's this other thing. Okay, well, now you got to roll something higher. And he's like, look, you've already tried. I don't have time for you. Peace out. And they tried again. And he's like, no. The answer is no. So, and he role plays it that way. So it's not just a roll, no, roll, no, roll, no. Okay, well, you can't do it. Move on. It's very good. Very good. Mm-hmm.
You said you had a question as well?
Oh, shit. Okay, yeah. You may remember this, or you may have to go back and watch yourself. I don't know if they do it. Do they go through their character bios at the beginning of every episode?
No.
Okay.
The intro I posted on your wall at one point. Later on, that's all they show.
Okay. The intro that I have seen for episode 1 and episode 2, they're both the same. They do their like 1 to 2 minute spiel for every character. They all talk about their own character, what they are, their past life and all that. They give a character bio. But my question for you is the video is blurred. I'm assuming they do that on purpose.
Yeah, I'm assuming it was something that they wanted exclusive to an audience.
Yeah,
and they never went back and changed it.
I didn't think that.
Intended that long term. Because I believe they streamed it on Twitch initially, so it may have been something that the Twitch viewers got to see.
Yeah,
to try to boost up their numbers. Because in the first, I don't know how many episodes they're constantly working on their subscribers and doing giveaways and stuff, and it's like, all right, wow, we hit 1,000, and they stopped plugging it at all. They still do giveaways at certain amounts.
Yeah,
but it stopped being like So they start out like every 10, and then every 50, every 100. It's now up to like every 1,000, and they're up to like 36,000 subscribers.
Yeah,
in the episode I'm watching, and that's still, I think, a year behind at that point.
I see. This is they are such a entryway for anybody to even think about D&D, because again, they're not LARPing, so that's not going to throw a lot of people off.
Right.
They're not breaking out 20 books in front of you and going, these are the pieces that you need to read to even understand what we're doing. You pick up episode 1, you deal with the 10-15 minutes of them giving their audio narration, and they're right into the game. And it's just fucking people around a table bullshitting and adventuring and pretending and having fun. Love it. Love it. But yeah, what I thought was, my thought was like above that, not in a arrogant way, but I don't know how to say it else way. I thought that the reason why they had the bios blurred was because they didn't want you to specifically see what their characters look like. They wanted you to use your imagination. I was like, oh, that's actually pretty cool. But yeah, actually your way sounds more like probably what it was. It's something like rewards for people, and they didn't go back and put it in. So just making sure it wasn't me and I didn't have something weird.
Did you watch the intro I posted on your wall?
I don't think I did. I think I used that as a reminder to go look at the video, to go look up the channel, and I just went and searched the channel and started it. For one, I had to go through their playlists and find where to start, and I started with campaign 1 Because the first video that popped up when I clicked on Roll20 was Campaign 2, Episode 30, whatever. And I was like, oh, there's a Campaign 1. Well, let me go see what 20 episodes this is. Huh! How wrong I was. So they have a fuck ton of other videos. They have other campaigns. They have little mini campaigns, little one-offs, all kind of videos. The one that I'm on right now is just Campaign 1.
Yeah. That's what I'm still watching.
Yeah. So what else about Wonderful World of Dungeons and Dragons?
I mean, as the bios come in, which so far you're the only one that's really fleshed it out, I'm putting places like I have a map. I mentioned before I generated a map, copy and pasted from other maps to make it what I wanted and stuff. And I have a, known world map right now. So as things roll in, we have 2 characters that are playing the cat people, which I'd never even heard of until they mentioned it, because it's in a different material.
Yeah.
That's not a core race.
Yeah.
So I'm like, all right. So I read through and it's like, oh, they come from, a faraway island, and don't traditionally travel out of it, or they do, but only, to get information to bring back. So I'm like, all right, where's their homeland going to be? Okay. So now I'll have this designated large island where they come from, and that'll, be where anything related to them may happen or whatever.
Yeah.
They have a place on the map that they come from. Your background, you talk about this island. I'm like, okay, so now where's this island going to be?
Yeah, see, that's what, I did that just for ambiguity on your end. Because, again, I had them designed as orphans, him and his friend. So I just put islands as thinking that would be somewhere away, and wherever you decide that's the island they come from, I can work that into my character. But I didn't want to be like, they come from the town of so-and-so, which is across Rivendale's blah, blah, blah. I tried to be vague about it just to make it easier for you to pick places. I hope I didn't make it harder.
No, I actually, looking at my map, I did actually give you your or placed a marker where your original home would be, and then where the place you actually grew up is.
The school. Yes, the school.
The school. So it was interesting picking a spot for that, because it's got to be not too far out of the way, but still out of the way enough to where, there's that privacy that would be around it.
Yeah. So
I've actually picked a spot for that.
Again, this goes back into what I was saying earlier, folks. A DM has to just do this. They go, I'm going to make a fucking world, and I'm going to flesh it out as much as I can.
Yeah, and there are different styles too. One of the first campaigns I watched, actually watching people play, I don't know that there was a overall world map at the start. It was more, this is the city, and then in the planning sessions, the DM, he just populated like 100 miles out in each direction.
Yeah.
And that was it. And then as he's like, all right, as the campaign progressed, they're moving up further north, so I'm going to add more around to the north. The stuff of the south is still there, but he didn't necessarily flesh it out because they're not in that area. And that's kind of overall, I think, how I did it. I don't know if, there's stuff we didn't see, because he did do, aside from their actual streaming of the game, he did do streams where he just showed planning sessions for the people that really cared about the behind the scenes and didn't really care about spoilers. But, he showed his world building type stuff,
which is cool.
And I didn't watch all of them, so maybe later on he changed it up or whatever. But he had actually like not necessarily spreadsheets, but more like Word docs where he's like, all right, this city is so and so. This is what they're known for. This is their, what trade they do. This is how big they are. These are, key people in there. And he would just flesh out the cities like that. So it's, quite a bit to it. And that's why, like I said, using the backgrounds is a big help, because that at least gives starting points. I'm like, all right, I know this is here, and this is here. It makes sense for the group to all be together at this part of the map.
Right.
You know, whatever reasons brought them there. So, yeah, lots of work ahead of me.
Mm-hmm. For this one campaign of the 20 we're going to run in our lifetime. Yeah, it's cool stuff, man. I'm looking forward to it. It's good times. Again, for anybody else that's interested in anything we're talking about, you can look at Roll20, roll20.net. That's the website that's we are using. It's basically a fucking D&D platform website. It's got everything you need to just play the game. It's
a table type site. It's not just D&D. It's also Pathfinder.
Yeah.
I was looking through their list of character sheets. There's one for a Mass Effect tabletop game.
Mm-hmm.
So there's every system you can think about just about has a sheet on it.
Yeah. And of course, you can always go out of your way to go find, D&D books. It don't have to be fucking books. There's PDFs out there. Come on, it's 2018, folks. You can read up on all this. Definitely check out Critical Role. Again, episode 1 will draw you in. If the nerdy talk, the actual voices blows your mind, just skip forward past the intros, and as soon as you see them, they're just fucking people. And they're not, they're also professional fucking people in their life. They are voice actors who have careers and are professionals and are paid and have houses and cars and jobs, and they're sitting around making funny voices and talking about the game. I mean, it's fucking cool. It's very cool. Also, check out Pro Jared's D&D December. I think he's got like 20-something videos, and they're all different types. They're general things of like, here's some potential do's and don'ts and things you want to try. Here's how to make a character. Here's some funny stories about some times where I've DM'd and some stories that I've heard. So definitely good stuff to check out. I think that's it for D&D talk. I think we're good.
Yep.
Sweet. So let's talk about something more sports related. Let's talk about speedrunning in video games.
Hold on. We skipped my other thing for the week.
Oh shoot, I'm sorry. My bad. Go ahead.
And yes, this will spoil the background of your character, what you're basing it on a little bit.
Oh, no.
And by a little bit, I mean a lot. So I started playing The Witcher.
Which one?
The first one.
Oh, God bless your soul.
Because I had it on Steam. I got it as part of a pack, I think, or whatever. I have 1 and 2 on Steam, and then 2 and 3 on Xbox One.
Okay.
So I started playing through 1. I had the game crash on me before I ever got to save, so I had to watch the intro again. And by watch, I mean button mash through it.
Yeah.
But overall, enjoying it. The controls are interesting because it's keyboard and mouse. I couldn't get a controller to work.
Not even using X-Pad?
I didn't. Honestly, I spent like 5 minutes trying, if that. And I was like, okay, I'll just play with the keyboard.
Yeah, that's fine.
I didn't care enough to go through the work.
You don't have to. Remember, I'm always the person that always plays controllers, so dude, I totally get it. People play with PC and mouse and keyboard, totally fine.
Yeah, but with Witcher 1, I think it's better to play with the keyboard and mouse on the PC at least.
Yeah.
With the design of the game.
Yeah.
So it's like, all right, so I spent, let's see what Steam says. I think it's like 2 hours on it. Oh, sorry, I have 7 hours.
It's okay.
I don't think any of that's sitting there, but yeah, up to 7 hours worth. And I was enjoying it, but I got to the point where I'm like, okay, I'm just kind of running in circles doing all these quests, and I'm not really progressing, and there's a lot of waiting for day night and all this stuff. So it's like, all right, I've gotten a taste for the first one. I completed the tutorial, moved on, and I was starting the rest of, the main story stuff. I was like, all right, I'm going to load up Witcher 2. But I did so on Xbox One, playing the Xbox 360 version I got for Games with Gold, I'm sure, at some point.
Okay.
So it's backwards compatible, playing on the Xbox One, the 360 version. my God, those controls.
Okay.
I'm like, okay. I had played Witcher once. I knew, about my runes, about this and that. And it's like, all right, you press this to draw your weapon. I'm like, okay, straightforward. These are your, fast and heavy attacks. Cool, got it. And then it's like, hold this and move the thing around the radial to choose your rune. And then you have to press A to choose that rune. But because it's a tutorial, it won't let you choose the rune unless it specifically is telling you to choose the rune.
Mm-hmm.
Like, okay, getting a little annoyed. Make it through the tutorial. And finally, it's like, all right, it's time for you to fight in the arena. And depending on how you do, that's, what difficulty the game will recommend you play on.
Mm-hmm.
I killed like one thing and then died. Because the controls.
Yes.
I don't know. I don't know what it is about it.
It's okay.
I could not get my runes off in time. I kept getting hit instead of, attacking. I'm like, all right, I'm targeting it. I'm hitting the button.
God, Adam is rolling and he's rolling over right now. He's doing fucking backflips and blowing out flames from his nose.
So I think I spent a total of like an hour on Witcher 2.
Okay.
And I was like, all right, I think I've had enough.
Okay.
So I'm at the point where I'm debating, do I want to go back to 1 and just start playing through that? Continue on with it. Do I want to keep going with 2 because I made it out of the arena? It set me to easy. I was like, yes, please. At least until I figure out this combat better.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And I started moving around, and I don't like the interface as a whole.
Mm-hmm.
It's like, all right, you have to go into the meditate menu before you can even take a potion now.
Yeah.
When in the first one, it's like you can take a potion whenever you want.
Yeah.
The interface as a whole, I do not like it. So I have to decide if I want to brute force my way through it longer, because the reason I'm playing is to get more lore information.
Yeah.
I want to know more about the story, but I don't want to just go read about it. I want to play the game because they're on my list to play anyway.
Okay.
So I'm like, all right, do I force my way through 2 more to get more feel for the story? Do I go back and play 1, or do I start 3?
Okay. If you're asking this to me, I have some answers for you.
All right.
By telling you the way that I played it. I played through the entirety of the Witcher series, quote unquote, by starting with The Witcher 3. I had heard Adam talk about the Witcher series in general forever, and this was around the time when Witcher 3 was already out and was a hot mess, and I got it and played it and went, holy shit. Now, I specifically asked him on many occasions, as I do for many games, do I need to play the prequels? Which, for the Witcher series, is a yes and no. You should play them. No, well, no, not even should. Scratch that. It would be good to play them to get more backstory and everything, but you don't have to. I played the entirety of Witcher. I'd have to go, if I wouldn't be lazy, I could look up my time as well. I think I got like 130, 140 hours in The Witcher 3. Good amount of time in that game. A lot of shit. I went back and played. I was like, okay, I've done Witcher 3. Time to try the original 2 so I can get more background. Played Witcher 1, made it maybe a couple hours into it, and said, I'm sorry, but no. I'm so sorry. This is going to sound so bad, but no. The story is there in Witcher if you want it. I get that. I would rather just watch a playthrough or something, a synopsis, because I just couldn't. Went through Witcher 2. Things got a little better. Controls, as you said, very, okay. But I made my way through it, and good story.
The intro to Witcher 2 was awesome.
Yes.
Like the opening cutscene thing. Yes. I was like, all right, yes. I'm on board.
Witcher 3, whole fucking new story, buddy. Whole new game. I don't just mean story. It does follow the Witcher background and everything, but whole new game. Controls, they're more sleek, they're more stylized to what you would be used to in this day and age. Graphics, fucking phenomenal. The story, oh boy. Persona 5? Huh? Yeah. Meet Witcher 3. Persona 5? Meet Witcher 3. Witcher 3, Persona 5. There's a lot to that game. With me, only have played Witcher 3 either by asking Adam or doing maybe some side research on my own. I got the other information that I should know. Like, and there's I still have a lot of shit confused because there's so much fucking shit to the Witcher lore. There's so much with all the Witchers, all the schools, all the other characters, the kings, the queens, the fucking barbarians, the emperors, the other races, all the magic and alchemy and all. There's a big fucking rich universe there. I played the entirety of Witcher 3 and got it all. I understood the story of Witcher 3. I understood everything that happened in that game. I got all of it in one nice package. Anything that I picked up from playing the little bit I did from Witcher 1 was just oh, that's what that is. Oh, okay, that clarifies that. Anything that I picked up in Witcher 2 was, oh, okay, that's what those two were doing. Okay, oh, that's who that king is. Oh, that's what that person was talking about. It was never, I didn't finish Witcher 3 and go, what the fuck, man? I'm so fucking lost. I got it all. And there are gonna be people that say different, and I respect your opinion. I'm telling you, as me, having done what I did, you could just play Witcher 3 and be good. If you play Witcher 1, you're going to get more backstory. If you play Witcher 2, you're going to get more backstory fleshed out. But you're not going to walk into Witcher 3 going, they'll give it to you. They'll give you what you need. It'll be explained.
Did you play Witcher 3 on Xbox or on console or on PC? Okay.
And even on PC.
With the controller?
Yes, I did.
Okay.
So that would be my advice to you. Again, if you want to muscle through Witcher 2, Witcher 2 is a damn good game. Witcher 2 is a step down from Witcher 3, but definitely a step up from Witcher 1. Good God, is it ever. I got more... The characters that are in Witcher 2 are going to make appearances and come back in Witcher 3. I mean, again, it's all huge. It's all fleshed out. But either in the game somehow, either through their narration or maybe some backstory, maybe even some dialogue, some text, you'll get what these people are doing. The difference is, and this is something you and I know, is that there's a difference in reading who this person is and playing the game.
Yeah.
I got a little bit like a random example. There's a character in the game named Roach. I didn't know about him from anything but Witcher 3. I understood that he was a friend and an ally to Geralt. Okay. When I played Witcher 2, see where he came from. Saw some more shit about him. Got some more background. Cool. But that did not make me go, click, 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 click. Now everything in his story in Witcher 3 makes sense, and now I get it. It's more like, oh, okay. So that's that adventure they went on. Okay, that's that cool thing that they found. All right, cool. So, if you can't muscle through Witcher 1, I completely sympathize. Neither did I. If you don't want to muscle through Witcher 2, I did, but it's you don't have to. You better fucking muscle your ass through Witcher 3, Chris. Not for my background's sake, just because of that game. Oh, I'm telling you. You're in for it. I didn't know shit. It's like, hey, there's this cool video game out. It's got a guy with two swords on the front and like cat eyes. Okay, what's this dumb shit about? And I played it and went, oh my God. Awesome. So that's my take on the game. Hope you play it. Hope you like it. We'll see.
Yeah, I think what I'll do is probably load it up on Xbox One and see how it plays. And I also need to go back and load up 2 on PC, since I have it on both, and see if the PC controls better.
Yeah.
From a keyboard and mouse perspective.
Yeah. I played...
I'll see how I like it.
And I just to say how I did it, when I played The Witcher 1, when I saw it was, before I even jumped into the game, when I saw it was keyboard and mouse only, my fucking peasant console mind went, oh no! No, we won't be doing that, I don't believe. And I went and found Xpadder or something, and I mapped keys. And even that, it wasn't just the controls. It was just, I'm sorry, man. This is going to sound so fucking asshole to say, but that game is so aged for me. I just couldn't. It was just I'll just read the pamphlet. I'm good. Witcher 2 came around and it had the ability to control the controller right off the bat, and I mapped things around and it worked okay for me. Again, this was a year or so ago, and I do remember there being some fucking learning curve and some wonkiness to it, but I muscled my way through it, and what I got from it was some good story. Actually, some very good story for some particular Witchers, but it wasn't a necessity. Again, you're going to run into like other Witchers in Witcher 3, and you're going to be like, okay, I can get what's going on with these two. I can get I can get this relationship between these two. And they may throw some side references in, but they're not going to look at the fucking camera and go, okay, Chris, if you played Witcher 2, you would know about this battle we did. It's more like, yeah, remember that time we did that thing? Yeah, cool. So anyway, this is what we're going to go try to do, all right? You along? Yeah, let's go. I was able to play Witcher 3 standalone. Worked just fine for me. And that was my intro to it. That was my, okay, I'm going to give this Witcher series a chance. And I went, I'm in. I just happened to go back and went, yeah, I'm okay.
Yep.
But the spoiler thing that you were talking about is and again, just now I can explain again why I did it this way. I'm trying to fucking make a Witcher character in this D&D campaign. I'm doing a lot of copy paste. I'm doing a lot of there's a word for that when you use other people's properties. Anyway, I'm doing a lot of stuff that's already been done. Little imagination. I've kind of tailored some things. I've actually put a little bit of Bloodborne in there. But this is not my this is my complete off the wall, my imagination. I've never thought of myself as a very imaginative person, so I'm actually kind of nervous when it does come time for me to make a new character in a new campaign that's completely all me. But we'll see. For now, just because I want to give something to you and say this is my character and just make a character so I can start fumble fucking my way through a campaign and learning how to play the game, I took the brunt work off of creating somebody and just went, this is this character. I'm going to do this, and then I'm going to learn the game, and we'll see how it goes.
Yep.
Hopefully it'll be okay.
Should be. I have some, decent ideas about how to do things, so we'll see.
And again, I know this is fucking hyper specific, but if anything that I've made in that character seems like it's like, okay, that's either too OP or that's something that would not exist or whatever, like the wolf amulet, I try to be more specific about that, but that's actually, when I thought about it, I was like, actually, that's kind of a pretty powerful thing. I mean, it can it's supposed to detect anything that's a monster. Anything. A monster, a beast, a ghoul, a ghost, a fucking dragon, anything. And the closer you get to it, the more it vibrates. Well, that's a pretty powerful thing. We could be
I'm trying to figure out how to work that in a non-mechanic breaking way.
Yeah. If you don't think you can, if it's too much fucking work, dude, I'll ditch it. I don't even have to have one. I just thought of one and threw it in there mainly because that space was blank. Adam was actually telling me that there is, I don't know if this is 5th edition as well, but apparently there's an appendix that has some kind of treasures. It's like valuable treasures or... Damn, he was just telling me about this today. He was saying he ran a campaign one time with a DM that let everybody in the party pick one item from this list.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, there's several loot tables in the DM guide.
Yeah. And, I mean, you didn't tell us we could, but, I mean, if the amulet's not a thing and you allow us to, I'll just go pick one of those. It's not that big of a deal. I just literally threw something in there because what would this character have on him? Well, he's part of a school. He'd have an amulet. Cool.
Yeah, I'm thinking that it'll probably be something you earn.
Yeah.
You'll have the amulet itself, but it won't do very much at the start, and then you'll earn additional features of it or something like that.
Right. Yeah. It's cool stuff, man. I'm anxious. I'm ready. Hopefully this other person can get their character made, and then we can start talking times, and then we can fucking roll, because now my mind is on it. Now my time's on it. Be good.
No pressure.
Yeah, no pressure at all. the pressure is on you to go play Witcher 3. Definitely.
Yeah.
Anything else before we do move into the topic? We good?
Nope.
Sweet. We should talk about speedrunning. It's one of our topics we've had on our mind for a while, and one of our hang-ups for talking about it recently was that I was going to make my way through ADGQ 2018, and I finally have, though that's not all that this talk is going to be about. This talk about speedrunning in general. I am the prick asshole who did not take notes for this at all, so I'll be talking off the cuff. And actually, I felt even more wrong and bad because there was actually some very interesting notes I should have taken at ADGQ 2018, and I didn't. There was 2 runs in there where, man, we'll get to it. For those out there that don't know what this is speedrunning. The idea is people systematically go through a game as fast as humanly fucking possible. And it goes beyond what you may even be thinking. Let's take a game like Random Game. Let's take Super Metroid. For hopefully majority of you have played that game. It has some hard limits in it to how fast they would like you to beat it. If it takes you 9 hours to beat it, it fucking takes you 9 hours. Nobody's pressuring you. There's an average level that people revolve around, and I'm just going to throw numbers out because I don't have the list in front of me. But let's say 4 hours. It takes the average person 4 hours to run through Super Metroid. Say it takes a pro player 3 hours to do everything in the game, get 100%. And you're thinking, that's pretty cool. So you go play the game, you put it on the hard difficulty, you get 100%, and you beat that game in like 2 minutes and 30-something seconds. 2 hours and 30-something minutes. You're like, damn, I did it fast. A speedrunner will go through that game in 17 minutes. Easy. Nothing. They will employ several things to make this happen. It's a lot. Chris will attest to this. There is a lot to speedrunning. Okay, it's not just press start and go through the game as quick as I can. There's glitches. Yes, they do use glitches sometimes, but there's also glitchless speedruns. There are gimmicks or maneuvers that either are in the game or were in the game but not really known and just found out, like walking through particular areas of walls or doing a particular jump that connects into another jump that isn't normally a thing, but they do it, and it gets them to other areas. There are lots of tools that a speedrunner uses, and at the end of the day, it's always trying to shave off another, I don't even want to say second, it's fucking milliseconds.
Yeah, it depends on the game. Some games you measure the time in minutes.
Mm-hmm.
Some games you measure it in milliseconds.
Yeah. This, to me, I think I've said this in an early episode somewhere, but speedrunning, folks, this is my fucking football. This is the thing that I watch, and I get up out of my chair and I go, yeah, fucking hollering and rooting for somebody to do something. Especially when it comes to ADGQ and like races. I love watching speedrunning races because this, on the video game side of things, is the culmination of the peak of professional fucking, or not even professional, but the fucking cream of the crop players of a game going head to head trying to beat each other's times. And I fucking love it. I love it. Speedrunning has been around for a while. This is not some new thing that popped up in the last 5 years. People have been speedrunning forever. There's always been time. If you've ever seen any game back in the day that had a time attack in it, that's what it was for. And even if they didn't have a time attack, there would be people that would jot down their time on a fucking piece of paper. I beat the game in this amount of time. Speedrunners in general have a large community. They are heavily involved with each other on their respective games. Most of them are pretty good about having an opening and welcoming community, even if you've never been in a speedrunning community. If you really, really like Super Mario Bros. 3 and you decide, hey, this speedrunning thing was pretty cool, I'll jump in. You fucking find a Discord or a forum or something, a Twitch page, a Twitch channel, and you go talk to these people, and they will help you out. Hey, here's some cool things to start with. Here's some stuff, and you will progress as well and learn more tricks, and you will get better as well. The deterrent for speedrunning, the thing that's going to turn most people away, is time. There is a lot of fucking time. And again, as you said, it depends on the game, true enough. But for the majority of these games, it's about time and devotion. This is almost the level of fucking, like, testing out a game for a bug. Like, you're going to have to play something over and over and over. And we're talking days, weeks, months, maybe even years on end. You have to understand what these people do. They systematically break this game apart. It's like a known thing. Mm-hmm. Yeah, they break the game. Like, there's no way around it, folks. They break these fucking games. They will take every single section of every single level, of every single enemy encounter, of every single room, every single step in a room, and they will systematically and mathematically find the quickest way to do something. And then once they find it, they have to perfect it. They have to do that over and over and over for one step into a room, and then to another step in a room, and to another step in a room repeatedly until 3 years later, they're to the point where they're playing this game over and over and over again, multiple times a day, all the way through, and making sure all of these things play out correctly, that all their jumps are frame perfect, and all of their dodges are frame perfect, and all this stuff. It takes a lot of fucking work to get where these people are at GDQ. But when you get to see the fruits of their labor, to me, it's fucking awesome. It is truly spectacular.
Yeah, and this isn't just, running around in the game doing stuff either. That's a big part of it, but it's also, for a lot of games, they'll go back and look at the actual code of the game.
Mm-hmm.
It's like, all right, what is the game doing here? Okay, why did it do that? Let me go look at this code and break down the code behind the game, the source code, reverse engineer it, and go, oh, okay, so based on this, if you move at this point, that changes a behind-the-scenes counter in the code to this, which triggers this. Okay, so now we've been able to progress through this area automatically because we did something, whether it's an arbitrary number of steps
mm-hmm.
or pressing, certain buttons on the controller in a certain order, gets this background code to this value that just, okay, the end door is open. I've now beat the game.
Yep.
But it's been like 30 seconds.
Yep.
It's ridiculous.
There is a lot of manipulation in a lot of games in the speedrunning community. But if that's not your thing, and I understand that because it's not always mine either, I like watching somebody go through a game legit. They call it glitchless or no manipulation, or if there's a known manipulation for it, they'll put it in the header like, hey, we know that if you do this red balloon trick, you can shave off 27 minutes of your time. We do no balloon trick in this run. It's just going through the game. But yeah, there's a lot of code manipulation, RNG manipulation. Like, whoa, we got so many examples, don't we, Chris? An example is Final Fantasy IV. They have a way, and God, I hope I've got this correct as I can. They have a way to manipulate RNG in that game, whereby the steps that they take in a castle, depending on where they move and how far they move, somehow in some weird Uber code language thing, tells the game that they will have no random encounters if they do this certain walk and that certain walk, and then go out in the world and walk this certain way. Like, shit like that blows my fucking mind. How did they fucking figure shit like that out? It blows my mind. Love it.
That's where I'm talking about, going into the code and stuff. Final Fantasy VII is the same way, and that's one of my favorite speedruns.
Oh,
is Final Fantasy VII. That's a long game.
Oh, yeah.
And the core of being a top runner in that game, and I have done a speed run of Final Fantasy VII. Nice. I actually sat down, and my time was like 13 hours, but that's still pretty fast.
Yeah, that's incredibly fast, dude.
That's a game that in our, childhood we spent over 100 hours playing.
Yep.
Not all of it necessary, but like a actual playthrough was probably at least 60 hours.
Yeah, 60 to 80 is a comfortable, when you talk to friends, they spent 77 hours. Yep, it's about what I did. Yeah.
But a big part of it is step count, which I cannot do.
Yeah.
So I got my 13 hours without step count, which wasn't bad. And there are so many different mechanics to learn in the game. That's like, all right, learn these other mechanics and then learn step count.
Mm-hmm.
Because that's when you'll shave off, 3 hours of your time.
Yeah. There's a lot of building and learning shit for this game. Full disclosure, I've never speedrun any game. I think that my only speedy thing in life was I beat Metroid Prime on hard mode under 3 hours. It was like 240 something. And that was literally the day before I left for my first military deployment. I literally beat that. I did that the day before I fucking walked out the door and left to go to the desert. That's crazy. Mm-hmm. But what I'm getting at is I haven't looked, dude, you want to talk about a fucking hole to go down? Jesus. Every single game that these people speedrun, there is a community for. And every community, they all have multiple people hitting this game from multiple angles and coming up with new techniques, with new tech, the way they say it. So you'll take a game like, here's an example, that's probably a bad one, but we'll say Super Mario World. Okay, Super Mario World's been around for a long time, folks, and that game is being speedrun to this day. I can't even fucking count. I could not count how many people professionally speedrun this game. How many times it's like every other day a new tech comes out for this game. Here is a new thing in World 4, Level 3. When you hit this enemy this particular way, it'll do this thing that will shave off, 20 seconds of your time. All right, cool. The whole entire speedrunning thing for this thing just got shifted. There's a new goal to meet. Everybody has to beat this game, and then when you get to this particular part in this particular level, you need to do this thing differently. You did it? Cool. Now finish the rest of the game in your speedrunning mode that you already know how to do. Yeah. Perfect. That's a broad overgeneralization of this shit. I'm telling you, it's in depth. It is scary how in depth this stuff is.
Yeah. And just real quick, I mentioned I did it in like 13 hours.
Mm-hmm.
The top, world record holders for Final Fantasy VII, the time is just over 7.5 hours.
Wow.
So my speed run was almost double.
Wow.
What it can actually be done in. Yep.
The idea here from the top down, folks, is if you think of speedrunning, think of any video game you've played. I'm going to say almost any video game you've played. Think of how fast you have seen it beat or how fast you beat it. You might as well shave several hours off of that.
Mm-hmm.
It's crazy. It's ludicrous. And you can watch these people do this and you can see what they do. And even from an outside perspective, you have to be in awe of what's going on because everything is so precise. The testament to them is their speedrunning ability is them being at GDQ where they can showcase right then on the spot. No recording, no backtracking and all that. Oh, we'll come back another day. They got to perform right then. Okay, I'm going to play Ratchet and Clank Deadlocked, and I'm going to beat that game 100% in 2 hours, 27 minutes. They give me a 2 hour 30 for buffer time. I beat it in 2:29. Whew! I had to do that right now on the spot. No fuck-ups. Mm-hmm. Everything, all your frame specific, all your maneuvers, all your techniques, all your abilities, all your skips, all that have to be executed in real fucking time. And it's incredible. It's utterly fucking incredible to watch this stuff. We're throwing out some terms that our general audience might not know. I know I just used another one too, was frame specific.
Mm-hmm.
Let's say you're playing a platforming game. Pick any one you want. I'm just going to say Mega Man X for whatever reason.
Sure.
Frame perfect is, let's say you're going to an enemy and you want to jump over the enemy. You really have a large range that you can jump over. You may not think you do, but you actually do. You can get right up on the enemy. You can jump straight up and you can go over. You can get about a step or two from the enemy and jump, and you can clear it. You can be 3.5 steps back, and you'll just clear them. When they're playing this game, they're going to get to a point where, okay, I'm running up on this bee flying enemy. If I jump at this specific pixel at this exact millisecond and then hit this wall at this exact pixel, we'll say maybe a 2-pixel range, and I press the button, my jump button again at this exact millisecond, I can do this thing. If I don't, I actually probably added maybe 3 seconds to my time. Doesn't sound much, but when you have that repeated over and over and over again, that adds up. Now you've added close to 20 minutes to your time. Like, all of this stuff is so fucking precise, and you don't realize it unless the commentators are there telling you. But when you hear shit like, oh, by the way, that was frame specific, he needed to hit that within a 32 of a second, that's important. And they're doing this over and over and over. And you can watch the game and go, holy shit, that was an incredible jump. Yes, but it was also frame and time specific. It was meant to happen right there, exactly right then. And if they fucked it up, it's not like being in football where, oh, you fumbled the ball and it kind of went out of bounds, tried over. No, your runs could possibly be fucked.
Yeah. And not only do you have frame perfect, you also have pixel perfect.
Mm-hmm.
So there may be a maneuver where you have to jump at that specific pixel, and that may be, depending on what generation of console you're talking about, that can be either a decent margin or a very, very, very narrow margin.
Yeah.
So you've got not only frame perfect, but you also have pixel perfect. Then you'll have a combination of two: frame perfect, pixel perfect.
Mm-hmm.
So you just exponentially increase these difficulties on these moves to where there are some that are literally only able to be done by a computer.
Yeah.
Which those runs are called
something else they
TAS
do.
runs.
Yeah.
Tool-assisted speed runs. Where literally they program a computer to do all these moves in a specific order because maybe they're just testing out routes, maybe they're just displaying what they can do, or maybe just because it's literally not human possible.
Yeah.
And I was actually watching a recap from not AGDQ that just happened, but the SGDQ from last year where during one of the things, the guy made it look easy. And the commentator was like, by the way, that move he just did, that was previously considered unobtainable by a human. That was only a TAS spot.
Yep.
That was a TAS-only maneuver.
Mm-hmm.
But he just made it look like it was nothing.
It's awesome. Awesome. Now, so, okay, if we've partially sold you on speedrunning in general, you're saying, okay, you're throwing a lot of jargon at me. You're throwing a lot of time-specific stuff. Okay, so they play the game really good. That's kind of an understatement. I mean, again, they fucking break these games apart. You can go through any game that you think you're good at or fairly decent at, and it makes you look sad. I mean, there are so many things about a speedrunner to a game that are just they're just wiped off the map. Like taking damage, unless they don't take damage in that game unless they want to for a reason. They're no hit runs. That's what they do. That's how they play their game. You want to play Ninja Gaiden and never take damage. It may take you 20 fucking years to ever do that. They play the game like that. That's their base level.
Yep.
Because getting hit, knocks your character back, takes time. If it's time related, they're already doing that, and it's off the record. They're not concerned with that. Continues and lives and save points, shit like that. So even the most good way that you can play a game, they're playing to perfection level. Like it's crazy. So you're hearing all this, and you're saying, okay, so yeah, they play games to perfection level. Okay, what would make me interested in this? What would I want to see? There's a few avenues you can look at. At any given time, you can go to Twitch and find people that are actually practicing or running the games right now you just name a game. You can probably go into Google and type in Twitch and that game name and speedrun, and you'll probably come up with probably at least one group, maybe several, of Twitch streamers or learning groups or whatever to just see what the thing is like. But if you want the cream of the crop, in my opinion, you want to look at GDQ. I believe we've talked about this as well, but talking about it now. GDQ, to me, is one of the coolest things about gaming. It's I watch tournament stuff a little bit here and there. I'll watch Evo. I'll watch like the top 8, stuff like that. I generally get entertained by that, but I don't know enough about the fighting game minutia to do all of what's going on. I just get a general idea. This stuff right here, this is meat and potatoes gaming for me right here.
Mm-hmm.
What you have is speedrunners from all over the world, not just U.S. They come and they meet in this central place, and there is a laundry list of games. They play for 7 days, 24 hours. There is always a speedrunner running some game. And it's a shit ton of games being run by a shit ton of very talented, very awesome gamers. You have commentators that are there commentating what's going on, because most of the time the person running the game is concentrating extremely hard. You can understand why. They may talk about what they're doing, and you do have a lot of ones that do that, but the commentators on the couch behind them are there to also do that for you. They facilitate the gaming knowledge for you, the language for you. So, example, you'll see somebody do a jump, and for you just go, okay, he did a jump. And the commentator will be like, okay, so what that is number one, you're not even supposed to be in this area. But 2, this was discovered a couple years ago by so-and-so, so-and-so, and that jump had to be frame specific, because if it wasn't, he would fall through that hole that you saw, and that would set him back to the continue screen, which would put him at another 40 seconds of time. And just stuff like that. They give a lot of flavor. They may give some history about the game. They may give some history about how the game has progressed in the speedrunning community, but they're there to add flavor. And they do a pretty good job of that. The GDQ as a whole, oh, and by the way, GDQ is not alone. There are several venues for speedrunning tournaments and whatnot. GDQ is just the one that I have primary knowledge of. They are a charity event. So during the gameplay, people will just be donating money. They just like the game that's being played, or they like the speedrunner that's speedrunning the game, or they like what they see and they're being entertained and they just donate money. A lot of it goes to incentives, which is where they're playing. Here's some cute ones for you. The incentive is, okay, guys, so we have this speedrunner playing Super Metroid. If you guys manage to donate $10,000, we will make him play Super Metroid with one hand. If you make it up to $20,000, we will make him play the game with one hand with another player as well. So 2 different people with 2 different hands are going to be playing one game with one controller. Stuff like that. And that's a big one. There's all kind of little ones like, what do you want to name the character to this RPG? Mm-hmm. We have these names lined up. If whoever has the most money for it, that's what the name will be. Lots of incentives. Lots of money comes into this thing. And it all goes to I'm like 80, 90%. I'm not sure. But it's for charity, regardless. Think about that for a minute, folks. There are guys and gals out there who are being ludicrously expert level, at a ludicrously expert level, are coming together to one place to play a game for you and the audience abroad, to just say, hey, here's my skill, here's what I'm going to do. The top world record for speedrunning Dark Souls is 48 minutes. I'm going to beat this bitch in 39 today. I figured out some new tech. I set my own personal world record. I'm going to show you today how it's done. And so on and so forth for like 300 other games. And it's for charity. All the money, we're talking millions of dollars, folks, all donated to charity. It's awesome. It's very awesome. One of Chris, you talked about one of your favorite is Final Fantasy VII.
Yeah.
One of my favorites, I'd probably say my absolute favorite thing to watch at GDQ so far has been the Super Mario Maker blind relay races. Let me flesh this out for the audience, because I know you've seen these, but by God, this, guys and gals, this is it. I get legitimately out of my chair, fucking clapping, screaming, go, go! This is my shit. Okay. Start from the beginning. For those that don't know, there is a video game out there for the Nintendo Wii and the 3DS called Super Mario Maker. The idea is you can create your own Mario video games, essentially. You have a palette set up, and it's just like creating anything on like a computer, a spreadsheet, whatever. You take stamps, basically, and you create the bottom level of the game. You create other stamps to add some background stuff. You take some other stamps and create blocks where you want them to be. You take some other stamps with power-ups in them, and you set them around. You make pits. You just... this is baby basic shit, I'm telling you. The idea is you have this game where you can create levels to your own discretion. They just give you the fucking Mario video game level tools and say, make whatever level you want. Go for it. This has gone to a sadistic level. There are games that people will make that are actually fucking impossible to beat, and then they crank it down one notch to where, yeah, like 2 people have ever beat this level in this game in the entire world. 76,000 people have played this level. 2 people have beaten it. It's that fucking hard. Okay. So in GDQ, what they have done, try to explain this as best I can without losing you. They'll have 4 different screens set up to play this game. It's going to be a relay race. The minute somebody dies, somebody else has to take their place. Each team will have 3 or 4 people. So you've got like 16 people playing this game already. They're all split up into teams. They will play this game. 3, 2, 1, start. They play the game. They're on it. Then they pick a level. None of these 16 people have played this level before. This is a brand new level to them. They are speedrunners, all of them. Yes, they've gone through multiple games on their own. They're usually, like, maybe they're all Mario-specific speedrunners. They've all been through Mario 64, Mario Sunshine, or Super Mario, whatever. They can play they can play video games very well. They can probably play platform games way better than you ever thought you could. But they're in Mario Maker on a brand new level that somebody made incredibly fucking hard, and they're blind. Not blind as in they have a blindfold, but they don't know what they're getting into. They've never played the level before. There's minute, and then they 3, 2, 1, start, and they all play. The minute somebody dies, somebody else in their team takes over. And they swap, and they swap, and they swap. And I'm telling you, Chris, seeing them go through these levels and all so close to each other, and then one person makes it a little further, and you're like, yeah, oh man, he died, and somebody else catches him. If if guys and gals, if you can't picture that in your mind, you just need to go right after this episode. Go to YouTube, look up, type in GDQ Super Mario Maker Relay. That should be all you need. There's probably 3 to 4. Unfortunately, there's a very small amount of them, maybe like 4 or 5 at the most. They didn't do it this year yet. Maybe they'll do it at GDQ. But that right there, that gives you an idea of the fun that goes on in this kind of stuff. There are other types of incentives. I gave you one earlier where people play certain ways. There is actually a legitimate gamer that speed runs the games. Talk about humbling somebody. I think what is his name? One armed. He's half controlled, half coordinated. I think is his name. He physically in real life only has one arm, unfortunately. But he speed runs games. You didn't catch that. Let me throw that again. He plays video games with one hand. He speed runs them. That means he beats them hours underneath time you ever thought you could. Dude, he does it with one hand. But they will have incentive runs for other people. Like, hey, here's this game. If you donate $50,000, he will play this game blindfolded. You want to see somebody run through, say, Ocarina of Time blindfolded? Speed running the game blindfolded? GDQ has you covered. They have games where they will silly incentive. Take the controller, turn it upside down. Speed run the game with a controller upside down.
Yeah.
Speed run the game with 2 people with 1 controller playing the game. They are speed running. I'm emphasizing that for a reason. They're not just saying, hey, we have Michael and Chris are just going to play one game with 1 Super Nintendo controller, and we just go, oh, man, you jumped over that hole. Oh, no, you got hit by the enemy. Darn you, Chris. Let's start back over. No, they expertly beat the fucking brakes off a video game with 2 people controlling the game with 1 controller. Awesome.
Yeah. They have a lot of the best runs involve more than 1 person.
Yes.
At least the more entertaining runs, I should say.
Mm-hmm.
Because best is a very arbitrary term, and that depends on what your preference is. But I find that the most entertaining runs at like GDQs are the ones that involve more than 1 person. Whether that's 2 players on 1 controller or a race. The races are my favorite.
Yes.
Just in general.
Yes. Love races. Love it.
Especially when you get a very intense game, like Mega Man X or X2. Those players are often, milliseconds off each other on their records.
Yes.
You may have the world record holder and then the next 3 people in the top 4 playing the game at once.
Yeah.
You want to see some movement, control, and just madness. That's what you want to watch.
Yes.
It's insane.
It is not unheard. It's happened a few times where people have been playing a game and they'll say, time. And everybody be clapping and cheering like, yay, yay, cool. And the guy goes, what was my time? And they go, blue. And he goes, wait, what was my time? That's a world record. We just beat the world record right here, right now. And you're like, fuck yeah. Awesome. Awesome stuff. This is entertainment, folks. This is video game entertainment in a nutshell. Now, I will tell you that it is possible to get bogged down with some games. There are some games that, while not every game that can be speedrun is great for performance level. Not every game you're going to be on the edge of your seat. There are some games that are tailored more to that, and that also goes to the speedrunner and or the commentators. If they're just being very, that was actually a frame perfect run. He's coming on the other town now. Like, your entertainment purposes or your entertainment is going to be give or take depending, but there's gold. There's gold in our hills of GDQ. You got to think they're playing 24 hours a day. They're playing multiple games every day, and I believe the GDQ scene happens twice a year. So you have multiple videos all already cut out, cropped, and edited just for you, for your entertainment purposes right now. I think this thing started back in 2008 or 9. I forget.
Something like that. It was like 5 guys in a basement.
5 guys in a basement, something like that. Yeah, and now it's multiple thousands of people in a venue running for 24 hours with millions. I mean, they've raised, I want to say $13-14 million, maybe even more. Who knows? They get a lot of money, and it's all to charity. And it's that, and it's fucking a gaming community getting together and being super fucking tight and controlling. And oh man, it's entertainment. It has its lulls, but there are a lot of fucking things to make up for it. Well, where should I start? Well, the 2 that we said. I mean, hey, if you want to try Final Fantasy VII, maybe that'll be up your alley. If you think the Mario Maker thing is up your alley, go for it. What I would suggest is that think of any video game that you really like. If you really want to go above and beyond, you can actually go look at all the playlists or go look at all the schedules from past GDQs and just find games in that list that match what you're looking for. But I guarantee you're pretty well off going, you know what? I bet Low G-Man isn't in there. Yeah, it is. Oh yeah, well I bet Ratchet and Clank isn't in there. It's in there. Final Fantasy VI? Yep, they do RPGs. Yeah. Mass Effect? Sure.
Yeah, it was actually huge for it was SGDQ last year, 2017. Final Fantasy VII was run.
Yep.
It's the first time it's been accepted. And the guy that played it, Ben's his real name. I don't even know how to pronounce his username.
Yeah.
But he's, I think he's number 4 right now in the world. I don't know if he was a record holder at the time, but he's, always been like top 3 or top 5. But he finally got in. That was huge for that scene. And there are so many people playing it. It aside from GDQs, if you just want to look at, a game and see what kind of speedruns are being done, just go to speedruns.com or speedrun.com. I think it redirects if you put an S on it, but whatever. They have leaderboards where, not everybody at speedruns uses it, but pretty much the majority of the community uses it as their leaderboard to track who's the world record holder. Where's the video link of the world record run? Every run on the leaderboard, I say most of them will have a link to either a YouTube video, a Twitch VOD or highlight, or something like that showing, evidence of the run, because the scene's got to that point where it's like, okay, you want to submit your run, show the evidence. And you'll be amazed at the times and stuff. You mentioned all the categories. There are categories for pretty much every game that is able to be split up, whether that's like Final Fantasy VII alone has like 8 categories. There's any percent, there's 100%, there's any percent no slots, which means no Kate Sith insta kill.
Yeah.
And those are all generally glitchless. There's a glitch category for the PC version, a glitch category for the PlayStation version. There's the PC glitch version. I think there's actually 2 categories for that, because one's the Yuffie warp, which lowers the game to like 2.5 hours or something like that.
Yeah.
So, the PC version, because you can speed it up or whatever, has its own category for the sped up version of it playthrough. And this just continues on. One of my other favorite games to watch is Super Mario 64.
Yeah.
Because that is a very, very movement intensive game along the lines of, like Mega Man X is. And that's broken down into star counts. There's the basic 40 stars, which is the minimum you need to beat the game. And then there's 120 stars, which means every star in the game.
Yeah.
And yeah, if you want to watch it, it's probably out there.
That's another thing that to look at. You can find games that have 2 different categories, which would be like any percent or 100%, and that's pretty much what it says. Usually, any percent is we're going to do the absolute basic barest of bare minimum to save time to beat this game as quickly as possible. 100% is no, we're getting everything in the game, and you're like, well, that's going to be longer. It may be. It may be only a few minutes longer. You don't know, because they're speed running this game. They're executing jumps and attacks and maneuvers and everything to insanely specific twitchy moves, and again, just demolishing games, blowing them wide open to what you thought they would ever be capable of.
Yeah, and there are people doing runs just to see if it's possible. There's a guy, primarily, that's mostly what I've watched him do, is Final Fantasy VII, but he actually does what he calls the Final Fantasy Fiesta, where he literally speed runs every Final Fantasy game.
Yeah.
Back to back. And one of his big ones is Final Fantasy VII, and he actually just finished routing, which routing is going through the process of, working out the best route through the game for a speed run. He actually just got done routing a solo cloud run for Final Fantasy VII.
Wow.
Yeah, he's like, all right, I'm going in this. My estimate is 23 hours. I mean, that 23 hours is about what the 100% route takes.
Yeah.
But I think it's down to like 15 hours for the solo cloud run. Not glitchless, of course.
Yeah.
Or is it? No, because I think I saw him duping items.
Yeah.
So it's not glitchless, but it is cloud only, or, when you only have Sid, it's only Sid.
Yeah.
And stuff like that. Whatever character you have to use then, that's the one that's allowed to be used.
Yeah. Mega Man X Buster only run. You know, Mega Man X, no armors, no upgrades, Buster only run. And you're like, well, that's incredibly hard to begin with, but that's got to be like 40 minutes. No, like 12. Or some shit like that, you know?
I think the base category for like 100% is 26 minutes, 23 minutes.
Yeah.
I think it's 23 for 100%.
And again, I will say that there are some genres I don't see. I don't see Madden in here. I'll tell you that. But racing games, probably. Yeah, there's Need for Speed type games in there because there's time. Racing is involved with time, so there is. There are some real-time simulators, real-time strategy games. Simulators I haven't really seen, but there is a wide variety of games in these communities because, again, my scope is only seeing the games that GDQ offers. The speedrunning community is fucking huge, folks. It's literally almost to the point now to where if you can think of a game, they speedrun it. There are obscure titles that come up in GDQ all the time, and I'm like, I've never even heard of that fucking game before. But then you watch them, and the speedrunners entertaining. You're like, well, damn, this is actually very cool. Or I'm like, oh, they speedran that game? Oh my god! And then you watch them play, and you're like, that's actually fucking cool.
Yeah,
wow.
There's actually a block at GDQ that's the awful games block.
Yeah.
Where they speedrun games like Superman 64.
Mm-hmm.
Not a good game, but hey, we're going to speedrun it.
Yeah.
Another aspect of speedrunning we didn't talk about is these games are often not played in the language the person speaks.
Yeah.
Like Mega Man X2, you look at the leaderboard, it is all the Japanese version of the SNES game.
And it's that meticulous because they'll tell you, and usually they'll go to the lengths of telling you, the commentator or the speedrunner himself will say, the reason why we're playing the Japanese version is because the text is shorter, the characters don't take as long to get up on the screen, and there's less text involved and whatever, so that saves time. That's it's such a key thing. You will hear them say several times in a run, this saves a half a second. That shaved 7 seconds. This shaved 2 seconds. This shaved 1 minute. This shaved 3 seconds. And you may think on the onset that, that shaved 2 seconds. Whoop-de-doo. It all adds up. And they're trying their best to either meet a time or beat their own record or beat a world record. And every second is going to count. And that's even another thing. When you hear somebody in a run and you know they're getting up there, you're watching them and you're watching the time, and they're like, they'll tell you in the run, okay, if I hit this specific save point, which they won't use, at 2 hours and 1 minute, I'm exactly where I need to be. And you'll be watching him, you're like, come on, he's almost there. Oh man, he's like 42 seconds over. Fuck. But then they'll gain the time back somewhere in another part. You're like, he's gonna make it. So it's, I love GDQ stuff, man. I love speedrunning. I don't think I'm ever going to be brave enough to get involved in that. I definitely don't think I'm going to have enough discipline and time to devote playing the same game for 3 years straight. But watching it, again, taking the entertainment aspect from it, this is my turn on the TV and fucking root for somebody or a team and watch somebody compete and watch somebody reach or beat a goal. I love it. I love it to death.
Yeah. And there are a lot of good personalities out there, too, in the speedrunning community.
Yeah.
You'll have, and, we have hyped up GDQ quite a bit, but to, kind of point out one of the negatives to it is, yes, it's a bunch of gamers, and yes, this doesn't apply to everybody, but a large portion of gamers are awkward socially, and you have, even if that's not the case, they may have a different sense of humor, a different type of personality than you're used to or you want to deal with, so to speak.
Yeah.
So you may watch a run, and no matter how good the game is, no matter how good the run is, you're like, wow, I do not want to listen to this person talk a moment more.
Yeah. Yeah.
It's like, so there are runs like that, can't be perfect. But but hey, good on them anyway.
Yeah, and most of the time you'll find multiple runners of that game anyway, so, it's a mixed bag. You never know what you're going to get when you watch any of these, be it a Twitch channel or a GDQ or some YouTube video of another speedrunning community. You never know. Speedrunning is a multinational thing. There are GDQ things all over the world. There are speedrunning communities and events all over the world. So you got a wide variety to pick from. And again, if you want to check it out, just get you a handful of games that you enjoy, you think you're good at, or you'd like to see somebody just fucking waylay. And I pretty much guarantee you one or two, maybe even all of those games that you picked, you're going to find some speedrunning, and hopefully it'll be some entertainment for you. Mm-hmm. Definitely stick to races. Definitely stick to gimmicky things. The gimmicky things will get you too. It's to me, watching two individuals play a game with one controller. That's entertainment. That's entertainment, folks. Because not only is it entertainment because they're talking back and forth and they're trying to play the game. What you see but you don't say is that they're speedrunning that shit. Mm-hmm. They are utterly 100% excellent, perfectly playing that game. It's two different people playing with one fucking controller. It's awesome.
And a lot of times, that isn't something that they've practiced. They may have practiced since they physically showed up to GDQ, like 2 days prior.
Yep.
But before that, they lived on other sides of the world from each other.
Mm-hmm.
And now they're there and they're like, all right, we're going to do this run if the incentive is met, so I guess we should practice. And they're like, all right, well, I've got an hour tonight. Let's go practice.
That's why a lot of those incentive runs are awesome, because they're like, yep, so your guys are making me play this blind. I don't really know what I'm doing, but I'm going to try. And again, usually they will be playing a game that's in their wheelhouse. So if they're used to playing a lot of platforming games at a speedrunning competition level, they'll have a platformer style game, and you'll see them using shit like they're still fucking awesome at the game, but they may die now and again. They may get a hit from something, but you can see that, like, man, this is skill.
And there are whole tournaments based on that.
Mm-hmm.
There are literally blind speedrun tournaments where you're going to go through and play 7 games you may not have ever even heard of.
Yep. Charity runs.
You're going to have a bracket to go through, and whoever does best wins it.
Yep. And just like you said earlier too, charity runs and charity streams. It's, man, come on. Somebody says, man, I'm running a fucking Zelda fucking run, and I've got 5 hours. Well, in that 5 hours, I'm playing through 9 Zelda games. It's like, wow, awesome. Hey, and all my money's going to charity, just because this is shit I do. It's a good community. It's a good thing to watch. It's a good thing to get involved with if you want to get involved with it. But, yeah, go check them out. Just speedrunning, pick a game, GDQ, speedrunning, whatever, and have a blast. Hope you'll be entertained by it. Think that's going to do it, Chris? I think that might be it for today. What are your thoughts, folks, on speedrunning? If you've already checked it out, what are some of your favorite events, some of your favorite games you like to see speedrun, and why? I'll give you another example just off of my head. Dark Souls is a fucking hellaciously critical game. It will fucking flay you open. But watching somebody go through that game, soul level 1, nude, with nothing, and they are like just bitch moding that game is like, cathartic. That's the kind of stuff that you can look forward to when you look for the games you'd like to see speedrun. What games would you like to see speedrun? You can comment to us and tell us about what games you'd like to see it, but hey, go search them for yourself. I'll guarantee you they're probably out there. What else we talk about? D&D. What? Oh man, did I hurt anybody's feelings with my talk? My horrible ignorance in D&D? Tell us. I love to hear people's D&D stories. This is something that I loved listening to in Pro Jared's D&D Simber, but him just telling like 4 or 5 different stories about, let me tell you about this fucking barbarian I had one time. Or let me tell you about this rogue I had one time. I love stuff like that. What stories do you have from campaigns that you may have played? Are you interested in D&D? Do you have questions for, well, mainly Chris, but sure, I could try. if you have stuck around the spoiler area, what did you think of Persona 5? Did you make it all the way through that game? What did you get? What did you not get? What things did you do and not do? Did you go through New Game Plus? Did you like the ending? Did you like the story? What didn't you like? Do you like us? Do you hate us? We'll take those comments too. We like any and all feedback. Trust me, we love hearing from our community in any way, shape, or form. Just keep it fucking civil, keep it cool, and, you know, if you got a complaint, as long as it's a legitimate one, we'll entertain it. You can send any of this feedback to us through a few ways. We have a Facebook page. Just search Facebook for the End of Time Cast. It's probably how you found this episode right here, or this entire channel, Woohoo Promotions, that we do solely out of our pocket. I'm not being mean about that. Just saying we do it for you. Want to build the audience. You can send us an email at endoftimecast@gmail.com. That's endoftimecast@gmail.com. No funny numbers in there. Spell it just as you heard it. We have a Twitter page. You can search Twitter for End of Time Cast. You can tweet at us. That'd be fine too. Any way you want to get a hold of us, we'd love to hear feedback. Anything you want to talk about, suggestions for what you want us to talk about, comments on anything you've heard in this episode or any episode, just talk to us. We'd love to know what you think. That's going to do it for tonight. Hope you were entertained. And until next episode, I'm Michael.
I'm Chris.
Good night, everybody.